with someone I don't wanna know, unless they happen to be at this show. I don't know who fucked up or who stole all your shit, but if they're next to you right now, just run up and hit them. Fuck that crazy bitch, man, I wish she had died. With my best friend prevented her from suicide. I don't know what's fucked up or what's wrong that I did. You're a grown-up adult getting mad at a kid, so let's bounce down the hatchet and bring it. Wow, if you got something with me, fight me right now.
And we're recording. Very healthy. Adjust. Hey everyone, welcome to the Garret Schuelke podcast. I am your host, your boy, Garret Schuelke, and we are back at Elmblad Media Group Studios in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And you know what? It's been a long time, dude. We once again have on Zach Elmblad, the remaining champion of most guests here on #PowerfulGSP.
Woof, woof.
Meow. And you know what? It's been a while, dude.
It has been a while.
And, I think, January since we last podcasted together or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. Because it was right before I dropped notice on my job, and we talked about it.
Yep. I revealed the glory to the world properly.
Yes.
And, a lot of shit has happened since then. You know
Certainly.
that? I mean, God, let's see. What has happened? Lots of shootings in Buffalo and Texas. There's that.
I believe gas prices went up about $1.50.
Gas prices are high. It's over $5. Thanks, Joe Brandon.
The S&P 500 dropped like 20%.
Yep. New recession coming up. Monkeypox. And World War III. That's kind of
that's on. Oh yeah, that's right. That wasn't.
Ongoing.
Yeah. That started to boil up to the surface on February 24th, which is a notable day for me. And so there aren't many historical events that have happened on my birthday, but now we got a really vivid one.
Yeah, and it has astounded me these past few months is all this shit happening. It's almost like 2020 all over again.
Kind of.
You know, when shit was just piling one on top of the other.
Yeah, it's a recursive thing.
I know, and I've been studying these past few months, and actually just like a week or two ago, just before we podcast today, I think I know the reason why this is all happening. These are all connected.
Mayan calendar?
No, it's close actually. But you know what it really is? Why all this shit is happening, how it's all connected? It's simple actually. It's because you haven't been on this podcast.
No. That makes all the sense in the world.
No, don't awe this. This isn't wholesome. It's a cold, dead fact. All this stuff has happened between the last time you were on here and now.
Well, it is my fault. Most things are.
Indeed. So, Zach, I asked that we please never have a stretch of podcasting without you on it again, because as you see, the world literally falls apart without you being on this podcast.
Yeah, it does.
This isn't wholesome. Stop awing.
I'm sorry for the world. If it is my fault, and I am the grand arbiter of global events, then I do apologize to the world at large, because I've definitely been in dereliction of duty here. Kind of fucked it up.
And I'm man enough to...
We're still allowed to say fuck freely on this podcast, right? You haven't
for
brought
now.
down the iron curtain of
for now.
free speech management here.
For now. I'm sure someone will come along and try to cancel me, so I have to go back on shit.
Tell that Zach guy to stop saying fuck all the time.
Yeah, we'll probably have to delete some episodes off Spotify. Someone create a Twitter account where they track all the episodes that are deleted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you seen that with
High controversy. No.
with Rojogan?
No, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't pay attention much either. I don't listen to his shit anymore, but yeah, when he comes up in news, he comes up. And one of my favorite things is that someone set up a Twitter account that just details all the episodes that Spotify takes off. And it's a lot. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, man. I mean, there's an extensive catalog, and I remember back in the, like, episode numbers, like, 500 to 750, man, like, he had some seriously controversial people on. Like, that's when he was getting, like, notoriety for giving platforms to people that he probably shouldn't have, or, like, that maybe had, like, used his popularity to kind of elevate themselves in a way that they might not have deserved. But, like, I don't know, man. I think the popular analysis of Joe Rogan these days is that he's canceled. But, like,
keeps going.
He does keep going. And, like, I know we've kind of had a similar trajectory of thought about our buddy Alex Jones as well. And he's been creeping back up into the news lately. That guy is just a shit show these days.
Yeah, and he's kind of getting his comeuppance as he should.
Yeah, man. I mean, all of the goo is starting to seep out of his, like, nuclear waste storage basin. Like, he's got a lot of dirt that is starting to leak out, especially from, like, his association with this January 6th shit. Seems like it's gonna percolate a little bit more intensely for him for the next couple of years.
Yeah, you ever listen to Knowledge Fight?
No.
Oh, Knowledge Fight is a podcast devoted to Alex Jones.
Interesting.
As these two
Instead of InfoWars, it's Knowledge Fight. That tracks now for me. I like that a lot. That's clever.
Yeah, they pretty much, I think, they track, like, current day, modern day Alex Jones.
Okay.
And then they'll do, like, classic Alex Jones.
Right. Do they like demark at, like, bearded and non-bearded Alex Jones? Because I feel like the more he began to look like Ted Cruz, the worse he got over these last few years.
No, and they're so popular and they're so extensive on Alex Jones that the lawyers who are representing, like, the families of Sandy Hook are actually asking them for help in, like, taking down Alex Jones because they're that good at, like, detailing his history and that.
Wow.
And they're gladly helping, as they should.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think I've said many times that was about when I checked out on listening to him anyway, and kind of having the world bring that up for him and, like, have that become something that was his, like, social downfall, I think is, like, appropriate, because that was kind of when the crazy got too crazy, and it was like everybody is sort of listening to this guy, and now he's starting to just fabricate shit and just, like, lie and just get real upset about it. And, like, everybody was starting to check out with the kids are dying, the frogs are turning gay.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Alex Jones when he was just, like, on a bullhorn yelling at people in cars as they went to the Bilderberg group and, like, trying to infiltrate, and, like, when he was, like, when he went into,
Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove. We talked about that.
Dude, I'm so disappointed because it was revealed that he was actually let in.
He was?
Yeah, he didn't sneak in. He was let in.
Oh, I didn't know that tidbit, and that just makes the last 20 years of my life just, like, laughable.
It's been rumored that he's actually a PSYOP, a CIA agent.
That's fair, man. I think that's a fair analysis. Yeah, it really is.
I kind of wonder, though, because I would think CIA people would at least, I don't know, treat their agents a little bit better. Their white American agents, at least. I could see them, like, tossing away people, like, in South America that they use, or the Middle East. But no, a big media figure like Alex Jones, surely they won't allow him to go bankrupt or anything.
Surely not.
No, Behind the Bastards did a recent episode called What's Going On with Alex Jones Lately, where they featured the host of Knowledge Fight. And God, they got such great clips of from the trials that he's been doing. Oh my god, it's insane. Like they feature one with like the lawyer, the prosecutor, I think, just hammering out Jones on the stand. Then Jones like actually gets mad and he just says like, "Well, you know, maybe it's because you hate America."
Wow, hyperbole.
Yeah.
Is this a deposition, or is he actually on trial?
I think he's actually
for the Sandy Hook stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they also reveal like how he and InfoWars financially supported this dude who made it like his life's mission to stalk and harass Sandy Hook families. Even if like some of the families moved out of state, he'd be like emailing Alex Jones like, "Hey buddy, I'm in Florida. I've tracked down this family. Take pictures of them right now."
Wow.
And like they were reading the emails, and he's like, and the prosecutor would be like, does this sound like a bad email to you? Yeah, it's a pretty bad email. I do not approve of it. And my all-time favorite one is that they had some woman who works at InfoWars. I can't remember her name or her position. But they were challenging the whole thing about them being, crisis actors. And one of the claims was like afterwards they had like I think it was at the Super Bowl, they had like some kind of like Sandy Hook choir there, children's choir or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's been so long ago. But yeah, they claim that those were actually the kids that were supposedly killed at Sandy Hook, but the American government were trying them out to make fun of people that they fooled.
Wow.
Which is kind of one of those things with conspiracy theories, how they claim that everything's out in the open, that they're making fun of you and that. Which I'm like, wait, why would they take that risk?
Yeah, that does. Oh man, like the layers of Looney Tunes in that shit, it's mind-boggling.
I know you can find an excuse for anything, as I learned in conspiracy theories. But yeah, this fucking woman, they asked her about that and that claim, and she says like, okay, I know it's extreme, and it's very sad what happened to this children in Sandy Hook. Alex Jones is very sad about it, but think about it this way. What if they were crisis actors and they were still alive? Wouldn't that be wonderful if the children of Sandy Hook were still alive, even secretly?
Oh my god, that's
so insane that
what
is.
Mental gymnastics, dude. Oh my god, I don't know how people like how do you go through that without your bullshit detector just being like, what? So the government killed a bunch of kids to ban guns?
But they weren't really killed. They were actually
actors. But they're actors.
And then they tried. Then in like a victory lap, they tried them out on national TV.
To
make fun of the American public.
It just, I don't know how that's supposed to work. I mean, I'm glad that this guy is gonna be put on trial because all this stuff is in discovery. Like they have to look into all of those emails and stuff, and it's like we get to hear now like the behind the scenes banter about like how he does what he does, and it's really interesting. And I hope that a lot of people that like still listen to what he says as if it's gospel sort of like begrudgingly watch this like to see their hero defend himself and then are like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, they still give him money. That's kind of how he's staying afloat.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not by much, by the way, but still going.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember back when I was still listening to him, and he was like investing in his like studio and like hiring people, and like he'd be talking about the equipment he's buying and stuff, and I'd just be like, damn, this guy's got a full on fucking like state-of-the-art production studio down in Texas. Like, this is awesome. Like, good for this guy. Like, this is the like the cutting edge of news media, and like just to see how broken that train ended up being 10 years later.
You got all this power, all this talent. This is what you do with it.
Yeah, dude. Like 2010, 2011, Alex Jones was like a media personality that seemed like a underdog kind of guy, like that was fighting for like working stiffs or whatever. I mean, that was the tone that he was dragging, and like it was an interesting time for talk radio, as we've discussed many times. Like, satellite radio was on its way out. Podcasting was just starting to become like culturally relevant, although it had been around for a long time at that point. And like and as more people like developed podcasting in the political sphere, like so many people do it better than Alex Jones did, and like he kind of bridges the gap from AM radio to podcasting in the same way that like Coast to Coast AM kind of does, where it's like the dinosaurs kind of moved over to, or like even guys like Dan Carlin like moved over from radio to podcasting, self-produced, became, you know, pretty relevant and put out good content. And then you see again, Dan Carlin's an interesting counterpoint to Alex Jones, where like Dan Carlin is very, very, very invested in like being accurate and like not using hyperbole to explain his analysis, whereas Alex Jones would stand there with just like printouts all over his desk to make it look as if he was just diving into all these facts, but it's like he would get distracted and start yelling about shit and like have fragmented arguments, and he would just talk for hours and hours and hours on his show and like repeat his points, but never really divulge how he was like coming up with his arguments.
Kind of like this show.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going according to the script at all here. I mean, I know you have an elaborate time-stamped script here that you handed me before this, and words that I'm not supposed to say, like fuck, but I don't like rules, dude. Fuck you, you're not my mom.
Here's a twist, man. I actually am.
How'd that happen?
Hey, I just had to let you know since it's Father's Day.
Yeah, exactly. On the recording date of this episode, it is Father's Day.
You and your dad have a lot to talk about tonight. Do this bombshell.
It'll be the talk of the dinner table. Alex Jones.
It's good to have you back on, Zach.
Hello.
Yeah, please don't ever leave again. If not to save the world, but to save my sanity.
I've secretly been here the whole time, just slacking.
No, I swear, if there's ever like a big gap like this, I notice that shit's going down. Even if I can't get you on, I will get like a Zach Elmblad impersonator and like hope it works.
Right, Vladimir versus Vladimir.
It's not
2022.
We don't have Zach Elmblad on, but we have Zamblad.
The imposter, the bearded imposter.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I am sporting an Alex Jones beard.
No, he's got like the more lush beard going on.
It's more lush, yeah. Mine's like halfway between like homeless on the long end and like 3-day bender shadow.
Yeah, I get that shit every week if I don't shave.
Yeah, dude, it happens fast. The damn shit just grows right out of your face.
Yeah.
It's unfucking believable.
How fast does your facial hair grow?
I mean, I was cleanly shaven on like Tuesday probably, so whatever.
Oh, mine grows back really fast too. I think like 2 or 3 days actually I could kind of have what you got.
The shagness.
Yeah.
No, I went kayaking on Tuesday and overnight into Wednesday, and then I just decided not to shave on Thursday and Friday, and then I started to look pretty gross, so I cleaned up my neck and shaved my head, but then I like cut my head. And
yeah, you got a lot of cuts going on.
Yeah, man, I've just been cutting my head. I'm not really paying a lot of attention when I shave my head these days.
Did you do it to see if you still feel?
I never feel.
Focus on the pain, the only thing that's real.
Like, I'm just like shaving the back of my head, and then I look at my hand and there's blood all over it, and I'm like, damn, I guess I cut myself again. Better get the styptic pencil out.
Oh, is that one problem you talked about one time? I got them too, but like these dimples stuff.
Sometimes, yeah, it's skin tags or like facial imperfections or whatever, but sometimes nah, dude, like there's one over here on the left side of my head that like I just caught the scalp at the wrong angle, and it just like filleted a section of skin off my head. Like,
fuck, dude.
Shaving your head every other day is laborious. I've been doing it for like 6 years now, and man, It's easy to screw up. It's easy to cut yourself. You can't see back there. Your eyes are on the other side.
That's why I stick to this kind of do right here.
I'm just so male pattern balded. It just looks dumb if I like let my hair shag out. It like makes little wispy things on the side, and like I just can't look.
At least you're not like doing the comb over stuff.
Yeah, I can't.
I had
do that ridiculous.
I had a douchebag at my job who did that shit. It was just so obvious. It's like, dude, stop.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's almost disgraceful. Like, just buzz it so that everybody knows that you got the pattern or whatever, or shave it or something. Like, wear a wig if you're really that insecure about it.
Wear a hat.
A hat works.
A hat or two. That'll work.
Yeah, there are many versatile hats for all social situations.
You know, wear two hats.
Bring back the hat.
You know, people wear two condoms. Wear two hats.
Yeah. Double wrap your Jimmy hat.
Well, actually, thinking of things I wanted to talk about, and one thing I want to talk to you about is camping, because you're going back on it.
Yeah.
And you went on what 2 recent adventures?
Yeah, I went on a 14-mile hike on the North Country Trail over Memorial Day weekend, and then I went on the 2-day kayaking.
Saw some pictures on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go over them, because I would like to talk about this.
Yeah, so my buddy Kevin linked up with a couple of people that he knew that wanted to kind of get their feet wet and doing some point-to-point overland hiking, self-supported, and they had a lot of hiking experience, but kind of just day hikes and mountain hikes and base camp type hikes where you wouldn't be carrying a full pack. So we kind of talked about packing theory and base weight and how much food and water you want to carry day to day and how you would resupply on a long distance trip. And so, we had fun. They made fires and used a flint and steel, and we were digging foxholes to shit in, and basic backcountry camp.
Oh, you
stuff.
You dig holes to shit?
Yeah, dude, definitely. Yeah, I mean, other options depending on managing your own waste in the wilderness is a consideration for a leave no trace camping ethos. So if you're in an alpine area, you wouldn't usually bury it. You would shit in a plastic bag and then hike it out with you. I feel like a lot of people don't do that.
Oh god, they do what they do with their dogs. They'll wrap it up in the plastic
in a little bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it there. But I mean, around here, you just kind of go a couple 100 feet away from camp and dig a 6-inch hole and shit in it, and then use your toilet paper or whatever, and then bury it all. So that way,
just
toilet
paper, not the wipes or anything, right?
I mean, biodegradable wipes are fine.
Do they degrade?
They make biodegradable wipes.
Okay, because I always hear about don't flush them down the toilet or else
clog. They clog the pipes because they get caught on junctions and stuff, and in T junctions. Not necessarily because they don't biodegrade, but it takes a couple of years. It's not it just dissolves.
I think they're called fat boys or something.
I don't know.
And I think it's a mixture of that and grease mainly. People just pour grease down drains.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the big clogs in the sewer systems that happen in New York and stuff. Yeah, it's usually those flushing wipes and oil. Yeah.
It happens in England and that because they got ancient plumbing there. A couple of years ago in Grand Rapids we had a problem like that.
That's funny. I don't know. It's nice to wipe your asshole with something that makes it feel sparkling clean.
Something that actually cleans it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the bidet is the quality choice there, but
I mean,
it's kind of hard.
If you think about toilet paper, you're literally just wiping it with dry paper. So
yeah,
that's
dude.
Clean.
Yeah, dude. I remember seeing this video once, and it's it was probably an advertisement for a wipe. But it's they smeared chocolate on their arm and then rubbed it off with a paper towel, and there's just chocolate streak all left over. It's well, you wouldn't use it to clean up chocolate, but you do use it to clean up your own asshole. It's well,
Is this
Try this wipe.
Is this like one of those cartoon commercials with the bears?
Probably, dude. Probably.
God.
Yeah, I mean,
There's such a great meme one time that showed like them distorted and it says, "We love shitting."
Yeah, dude, we're definitely talking about shitting, and shitting theory and convenience here on this podcast. Like, this is a shitty podcast.
Yeah, you see, even though we do love him, that's why Steve Wallis, the stealth camper from Canada, somewhat of a poser because he always notes like, oh, good, there's a porta-john here, there's a bathroom here. You know, real campers would, Steve, if you're listening, real stealth campers would shit in a hole.
Most of the time you need to shit in a hole.
No, wait, no. Campers. Stealth campers would just shit in the corner and then ignore the smell. Oh, jeez.
You don't shit in your own backyard.
Huh. Okay, so this camping trip was just a hike, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures. You went through the forest, went through some, urban areas, no, populated areas.
Kind of. I mean, basically we went from White Cloud to Baldwin. And so we ended just west of Baldwin on US 10, which is like 14 and a half miles or something like that. And so we were like nearby towns, but throughout the hike, we did not go through a populated area. There was like a couple of lakes that we went by. It followed the Pere Marquette River for a while there. It was a nice little hike. It was good. It was good. Lots of water access. The trail's well marked. Not too many deviations or anything like that. It stuck to the maps pretty well. Yeah, I want to start getting on the North Country Trail a little bit more. Like, we've talked many times about how I enjoyed my time on the Appalachian Trail, but the thing about the North Country Trail is it's a little less developed, and it needs to be popularized a little bit more. And I feel like the more I section hike it and like encourage others to section hike it, like, the more people will be interested in doing trail management and stuff. It's pretty extensive through the Manistee National Forest now.
Huh, you think that takes away the magic, though, getting more people on there?
No, man, it doesn't. Like, that's part of what the magic of the Appalachian Trail is because so many people do it that, like, the nearby townsfolk kind of, like, know why people would be doing that, and, like, they're more have a larger tendency to help, and like the local communities like it because people come through and spend money and tell interesting stories and inspire people. So I feel like there is the downside of like the assholes that leave trash everywhere, but then you like I always carry a trash bag and just pick up those douchebags' trash. Like, that's part of the thing. Like, if the more and more you get into backpacking, like, the more and more you want to be like a steward of nature, right? Like, you want to show people like what it's like to hike through the woods like that. Like, not just to go on a nature walk, but to like put a backpack on and like find a place to camp, like to choose a site properly, to set it up in a leave no trace way so that like when you leave, people will walk through that area and not even know that you camped at it. And like that's kind of the way Kevin and I always approached backpacking and camping, was like we wanted to leave as little impact as possible on the environment that we were in, because like we were there to enjoy it, like to look at the leaves and trees and like the hills and the animals and listen to the sounds and like just see what there was to see. And it's like if you go through and you're leaving, you know, fucking cans of sardines and like beef jerky tops and like the desiccant packs and oxygen packs from like freeze-dried meals and stuff like that, like it always sucks to be just like walking down this gorgeous chunk of trail and just see like a big bright red Jack Link's top from someone who's like, I have a snack. Like, come on, man. Like, pick up your fucking shit. Like, it's the same thing. People throwing trash out their windows while you're driving down the road. It's like, dude, this isn't your fucking house. What are you doing?
Dude, I've written many of haiku where one of the things I always notice is some plastic monstrosity in like the middle of this pristine forest, like stuck between some rocks in the river.
Right, here's a Bud Light can.
Or look, yeah, actually,
a big gulp.
Actually, I did write a poem called "Back to Blandford" that I'm editing, and I plan on hopefully having published next month, because I'm trying to get more stuff published, and I'll get to that later. But it's about my favorite place to nature walk, called Blandford Nature Center.
Okay.
In Walker, and I was in my favorite spot, and there's this fucking Swisher bag. Yeah, it's just there, and the snow melted and revealed it. And yeah, part of this poem is I'm lamenting the upcoming climate apocalypse, because I'm a firm believer in that. I try not to be I try not to be a fanatic about it, but sometimes,
Dude, those reservoir levels at Lake Mead are certainly concerning.
Yeah, it's very concerning what's happening out west right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I note in that poem is that when the climate apocalypse happens, and the population, the land's decimated, everything's irradiated, there's fallout level monstrosities everywhere. Guess what? This fucking Swisher bag will still be floating around, no problem.
Yeah.
Everything's destroyed but these fucking plastic shit.
Well, my old roommate, Kenny, I think we've talked about Kenny.
We have talked about Kenny many a time.
The first,
former bandmate in 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
Very appropriate name, by the way.
He saved the first 300 or so blunt wraps that he purchased, and he had intended at one point to decorate his entire bedroom with blunt wrapper, Swisher boxes. And
God damn it!
What was it? I think it was Nate Dogg had a brand of blunt wraps out that were flavored.
Oh yeah,
that
Nate
were
Dogg,
2-packs.
Very famous for both his love of blunts and for his being an excellent singer rapper.
Yeah.
Really good, not like Drake or Kid Cudi stuff, but actual good singer rapper.
Yeah, dude.
Rest in peace, Nate Dogg.
Rip Nate Dogg and your delicious blunts. No longer available in stores.
Don't worry, there's plenty of Snoop Dogg shit that you could probably... that last podcast on Left has their own weed now?
Yeah. Or at least vape cartridges, I think.
Yeah, last time I was up in Alpena, we have a weed shop there finally. Mm-hmm. But they were going to go start doing rec the week after I left.
Okay.
So I just asked, we're giving a tour of it. My mom, who's still anxious because even though it's legal and she knows a lot of stuff surrounding weed is bullshit, she's still really nervous to be around it. So one of the things I asked him, hey, you got last podcast on the Left brand? Oh, what's that? I had explained to them. Okay, we'll look into ordering it.
I wonder if you can get it outside of California.
Probably. They even say in their commercials, ask your local store to stock it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to nature trails and shit.
Yeah, hiking trails.
Yeah, I'm still into nature walking. I haven't gone full backpacker yet. But, I'm still kind of up there when it comes to trails. Honestly, I go to well-known stuff like Blandford, but I still really try to seek out places that aren't as popular or that aren't as taken care of, you could say. Because, it's more wild and less people. You kind of got that feel to it.
Yeah.
Which I did my Memorial Day weekend. I spent in Saugatuck, and I hiked 2 different trails. One popular, one not so popular. I went to Saugatuck Dune State Park.
Okay.
The popular one, you have to pay to get into it. And wow, I had a good time going through there.
The Parks Pass doesn't pay for that?
Well, yeah, you gotta pay for a park pass or if you get one on your car.
Okay, well, yeah. So it is paid regardless, but
yeah, it's
okay, I get it.
Saugus State Park, not Dune State Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very beautiful around there. Went all the way to Lake Michigan, and that's where the problem started for me because I was wearing some pants and they had like a little hole between the legs. Now they're about to go, and while I was walking along the lake, I noticed a baby turtle.
Oh.
I'm like, aw, and then I poked it with a stick. I'm like, oh, it's dead.
Oh.
But I decided to pick up and take a picture of it, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
But then I bent down, ripped my probably one of the biggest pants rips I have ever experienced. And it was so bad, in fact, like it ripped all the way up to the bottom here, so up to the front here where you can like see half my right leg, and then behind you can see like half my buttocks.
Perfect.
Yeah, thankfully
Perfect
I bought my sweatshirt, so like I had to like move my sweatshirt so that it like covered that part, because I know it's on the beach. There was both a lot of kids and a lot of guys with Trump hats around, which I'm like, great, that's just what I need to like be walking there with like my pants torn open, with probably these fucking QAnon Save the Children types around.
Right. I see that man's underwear, Dad.
He's grooming my child.
Right. Oh, God.
I bet he's trans. No, so...
Who wears hot pink floral print underwear anyway?
No, luckily I just wear exclusively black underwear now.
Quality choice.
Yeah, quality choice.
Mm-hmm. Amish.
It covers up a lot of stains, as I've discovered.
Yeah, man.
Even once
Except
you don't...
the white crusty ones.
Actually, it does. It does.
Perfect.
Like, you would have to look really close in order to see it.
The magnifying glass level.
Like,
Let's inspect this mystery stain.
What's that I
These
see?
mystery underwear stains. It's sweat, I swear.
So I tried to enjoy it despite, the big rip in my pants.
Mm-hmm.
And well, this is what I guess this is where it comes to the point where I was saying about too many people, because holy shit, there was just so many people on the trail there that they weren't polluting or anything, which was nice, but it's kind of hard to like get into the nature where you just have screaming children.
Yeah, the solitude factor is important for me. Like, anytime you're hiking more than 2 or 3 miles, like the likelihood that you're going to run into other people that suck is pretty low. Oh, so, like, you will run into other people on trails, but it's like, at a certain point, like, at a certain level of difficulty or a certain distance, you don't really tend to run into the poorly behaved kids or the like shitty people. Yeah. Usually it's just like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's the trail? Oh, not too bad. Couple of hills, bit of rocks. Like, everybody's usually pretty friendly and stays out of each other's hair.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any problems with them, but it was like,
I get what you mean. Yeah, it gets crowded. You got to walk around people.
Yeah.
The river's kind of the same way. Like, you get on a crowded chunk of river with a bunch of tubers and stuff, it kind of gets really frustrating to be a paddler where, like, everybody's just, like, completely drunk and they're like, Kelly, where's my shoe? And you're like, fuck, get out of the way, dude. We're coming across, like, a strainer or something like that. Like, I got to paddle around you.
Yeah, these are, like, the party-type people.
Yeah.
College guys. Mm-hmm. They're just, like, banging hams.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. The Bud Light cans just like...
excuse me, Bud Light.
Yeah, they tip their Sun Dolphin kayak.
Fucking normies. But, yeah, so yeah, I did, then, to top it all off, I got lost. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, my pants are ripped the entire time, so I got lost, and then I actually went to, like, a disc golf field area that they got there. Mm-hmm. So I go back up and like I'm looking at my shitty map because God, I'm sorry, but a lot of maps from nature areas are fucking awful.
Yeah, they really are.
Like, the only worst type I can find that are worse than that are cemetery maps. Like, they're even worse. But, so I get up there, and, like, I'm looking at the signs trying to, like, determine which way to go. And this family with, like, this old lady comes up, like, oh, hello, how are you doing? Like, oh, good, just trying to find my way. Oh, you're lost? Like, yeah, a little bit. Then I show her, like, on the map where I want to go. Then she says, like, oh, you're supposed to go that way. It was the way that I just came back from. Like, no, I was just there. That's not the way I want to go. I want to go here. I think I have to go there. She glares at me. Well, I think you need to go back this way. Me and this woman have this back and forth. I'm like, no, I went down this way. It's the wrong way. I need to go here. Well, if you went back this way, I'm sure you'll get there. I'm like, you fucking old hag. I am not arguing this point with you anymore.
Did you ever find it?
Yeah, I did, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I'm here today, so I did find it.
Right. Oh, well, I thought maybe that your clone was just wandering there still.
How you know about that? No, that clone also ripped his pants, and he distracted the MAGA dads away from me. But,
attack with fart gas.
Attack with pants rip. He's grooming our children.
Pants rip counter.
Alright, so that was Saugatuck State Park. Good place to check out. A lot of people, but we expected the state park.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to another place called Wade's Nature Reserve.
Okay.
And this is the place I like right now. Like, it's more off the beaten path. There's no one there when I went there. And it's more wild. You know, it's not as kept up.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem, though, is that there's another thing I discovered with my trail walking is that there are some trails that are better in the summer, then there are some that are better in the winter.
Definitely.
This one is probably going to be in the better in the winter part because holy shit, did I get eaten up there.
Oh, yeah.
Even with bug spray, like, cover over me, I still got eaten up.
Yeah, man. Oh, the ticks were really bad this year. I had so many fucking ticks on me after I went on that hike Memorial Day. Oh,
really?
Jeez, dude, yeah. Like, we were all just picking them off each other the whole weekend. And then when I got home, there was, like, one on my chest, one on my back, like, a couple in my clothes. Like, I had to kill so many stupid-ass ticks. I hate them.
I'm going to make you really mad right now.
Why is that?
I have never had a problem with ticks. To my knowledge, I've never been bitten by one. I've never had to pick one off.
They're nasty little shits, man.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, even my dad's gotten, like, bit by them.
Yeah, they'll drop off trees onto you, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, that has never happened to me. Like, I don't know why.
It didn't happen to me for years and years and years, and then it seemed like maybe 4 or 5 years ago I started spotting them, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a tick. And
yeah, my biggest fear with that is that, I guess I don't know how accurate this is, but they claim that sometimes they bite you, like, somehow they'll rearrange your DNA so that you're allergic to meats.
Yeah, Lyme disease is more prevalent, but yeah, there's a bunch of weird shit. So, like, they excrete some type of, like, saliva or something while they're attaching to you.
Yeah, it's like mosquitoes to, like, numb you.
Yeah, same concept. And then they, like, stick their little head into you and, like, put these little proboscis out. Like, it's pretty fucking horrific, dude. Like, they're nasty little bastards. And then they swell up with your blood, and, like, during that process, they, like, regurgitate waste into your bloodstream and shit like that. And, like, it's just a nasty little fucking thing.
Yeah, then when you want to eat a hamburger, you start sneezing. No, that's not how it works. But, God, that just filled me with fear because I love eating meats.
I also enjoy meat.
God, I can't imagine, like, trying to eat a steak and then just projectile vomiting.
Right, like, I hate this.
Because some random bug in a forest, like, made me this way.
Yeah. Speaking of mosquitoes, now all my fucking mosquito bites are itching now that
Oh, God, that happens to you, too.
Yeah.
Another thing I really lucked out on, I'm thankful for, is that I've never caught bed bugs.
Oh yeah, me
in all
either,
my
Jesus.
travels.
I've always been
That's-
really fucking paranoid about that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, it's never happened to me, but been a few times where I've been paranoid about it, and it would like make me itch and shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude, you get freaked out about bugs.
Yeah,
Little bugs,
like
nasty
you're
bugs.
you're just laying there in your bed of your hotel with like all white sheets, and you see like a little black thing there. It turns out it's just like lint or something.
Yeah, just
but
a little sock lint.
But you think it's a bug, and you start itching everywhere.
Oh yeah, dude, I know. Oh, when we were staying in New Mexico once at some like shitty motel, and like I was in the sink to like brush my teeth, and I looked down, and some fucking scorpions crawled right out of the fucking like drain, and I was like, that is a scorpion, and I'm like washing it back down. I'm like, get back down there, you little fucker.
This is New Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the New Mexico, not the old Mexico.
Not old Mexico, the foreign country.
Yeah, like what most people would think.
No.
This kind of shit would happen in.
Not Santa Fe. Albuquerque. It was a Motel 6 in Albuquerque. Fucking scorpions crawling out of the sink.
See, with shit like that, it makes you wonder why Bugs Bunny keeps wanting to go there. Maybe it's good that he missed that left turn so many goddamn times.
Dude, fucking Albuquerque is the weirdest ass place. Like, those western towns have like these like trenches off of the highway where like businesses are. So it's like, instead of having like a main drag through town like division in Grand Rapids or like East Beltline or something like that, it's like you have a major interstate and then like an alleyway on the side of the interstate that has a bunch of exits, and that's where all the like Walmart's there and like Shell and BP and shit, like fucking Five Guys, McDonald's, like Subway, all the standard American copy paste city center thing.
Yeah, you know that meme where it says like, and they say America doesn't have culture, and it just shows like this place filled with like a highway and gas station.
Right, yeah, dude, Loves.
Yeah,
Loves and Pilot and a Subway and a Wendy's.
Yeah, it's like, this is American culture, right?
Chick-fil-A.
Just your worst goddamn nightmare come true. Fucking dystopia.
Yeah. Here's 6 miles of car dealerships.
Dollar Generals.
Oh yeah, the Dollar Generals that pepper the landscape. That's true as well. Cheap candy and Doritos.
Still can't believe Dollar Tree's $1.25 now. Fucking bullshit.
Inflation, man.
Even that Arizona iced tea upped their price.
I heard that.
Same thing. Now it's time. I say that, and Dollar Tree upping their price. Yeah, now it's time to get worried.
The Costco hot dog. That's when it's worrying time. When the Costco hot dog becomes $1.75, that's when we all need to melt down.
Oh God. We should have seen the warning signs with Circle K sushi. Nice, warm Circle K sushi.
There's a tuna patina.
God, there's a fucking meme that showed like a guy got a hot dog somewhere. Instead of like putting it in a napkin or in one like those holder things, he just had the dog he just had on the counter.
Ah! No,
like dog.
Dude, no.
It's like, dude, how can you raw dog like that?
Raw dog.
Put your fucking hot dog on the counter.
Oh God, do you know how many nasty kids put their hands on that? Ugh. Butt crack itchers, just fucking smearing their fecal material all over. Ugh.
Oh, you're talking about
COVIDiots?
No. God damn it, I fucked up the joke. What's that one place across from Fourth Coast?
Oh, Carousel?
No, the shop there.
Crazy Monkey?
No, close. West Vine shop.
Oh, yeah. Well, we always called it the Carousel, but it's Southwest Inch Market.
Yeah, Southwest Edge Market. God, if I didn't fuck up that joke, I would have been like, after your description there, like, oh, Southwest Edge Market, you mean?
And I think for a while it was called Malik's. Like the guy that owns it is named Malik. Or did own it. I don't know. That place changes hands a lot. You never really know.
They still have their liquor license?
I believe so. At least beer and wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
I miss the fried chicken. That's a part of my childhood that I'll never get back, dude. That's one of those flavors that you crave that you never get to taste again. It's like when they got rid of all their deep fryers, I'm like, dude, that over-fried, partially rotten chicken with so much lemon pepper that you sneeze. Oh, I miss it. It was part of the like vintage Vine neighborhood living.
Well, you know, I'm missing out because the chain completely went out of business. Menace joint.
Yeah,
they completely went out of business.
Rip Menace. That sucks.
I really like their breakfast menu and their chicken and cheddar menu. Add mushrooms to that. Holy shit.
There's a lot of good, greasy, flat top grill burrito fillings in there. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it surely went out of business, I think, after Dave Matthews Band performed in Grand Rapids. Like, shortly afterwards, it went out of business. Then the one in Allendale shut down. Then
the Lansing one as well?
Yep, all shut down.
Oh, man. What a shame.
Yeah, clearly another victim of both China and Joe Brandon.
Clearly. It's all their fault. I did this.
Thanks, Obama. Oh, God. Southwest's Market. I still remember that when, like, I guess apparently in the early 2010s, the white guy that used to run the counter there.
Rat. Yeah.
Well, you know his name.
Well, his name's Brian, but everybody called him Rat, yeah.
Why do they call him Rat?
Because he was rat-like.
I
mean, it was meeting the guy. You know why he's called fucking Rat. Because he looks like a guy named Rat. That's why. He's got like 6 teeth. Fucking his hair looks rat-like. It's like gray, brown, blonde, blue, green. You're like, what the fuck color is that anyway?
No.
It's always under a trucker hat. He always mysteriously smelled like, I don't know, rat.
No, I guess. Okay.
He was a good person, man. He really was. Poor guy. He committed suicide in a house on Rainy. Yeah.
Ooh.
It was really sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, during better times, Rat, I suppose it was, used to run the Facebook page for Southwest Edge Market. And he'd post stuff like, you know, it's a beautiful day at Southwest Edge Market. How about you come down and get some grape soda? How about some blunts?
Those guys were always really nice, man. I went in there every day for years and years and years. There was a kid my age that was like the son of the owner, and he was always in there in like sweatpants, just like frying shit up. And like he was really nice, and he'd always be like, lemon pepper? And you're like, fuck yeah, dude, give me that lemon pepper. No, he'd say seasoning? And you're like, yeah, give me the seasoning. And then you look and you realize it's just a big GFS thing of fucking lemon pepper. You're like, these guys got me. Anybody can make batter and fry chicken and pour some lemon pepper on it and call it a special recipe. But it was good, dude. Get some ranch, some fucking barbecue.
Yeah.
Dip those big-ass chicken tendies in that shit. Take away any nasty hangover.
Oh, chicken tendies, you say, Baby Yoda?
I need my tendies, man. It's all about the tendies. The casino tendies are dank. Go out to Firekeepers and get yourself some fucking chicken tenders.
Southwest Market doesn't do it anymore, so you might as well go to Battle Creek and get yours.
Right, yeah, drive all the way. Fuck gas.
Okay, back to what I was saying. The second place I went to... Oh, jeez. Second place I went to is called Waves Nature Reserve in Saugatuck. Much more out there. Not as popular, way more wild.
No tendies.
Yeah, no chicken tendies, surprisingly. No purple soda, no blunts.
No slushies even.
Yeah, so went out there, got eaten the fuck up, which sucked.
Not even a cooler full of warm PBRs.
Nope. Fucking bullshit. But you know what they did have back there that was cool, though? A cabin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I guess... The guy, Wade, like, came down from the UP, you know, way back in the day. And, yeah, they bought his cabin down, like, reconstructed it in this area, I guess. And, yeah, anyone could go in it. There's, like, no door, no windows on there. So first I was thinking like, oh great, there's either an animal or some crazy person in there. Nope, there wasn't any of that. But there were stuff like toys and chalk and whatnot for kids and like Boy Scout troops and all that shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. You know, they had there. And I will say about Wade's Nature Reserve is that it's very wild, like I said, which has its ups and downs. Mm-hmm. But despite that, it's one of the most well-marked trails I've ever been on. Like, you know how, like I said, most trail maps are awful.
Yeah.
And, you look at it, you're like, fucking Bugs Bunny, you're like, I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. No, this trail had, like, every few feet a fucking marker with, like, a certain color. Like, okay, blue goes this way, red goes that way. And yeah, I was actually shocked. I'm like, wow, for a place that's really unkempt, they sure got a lot of trail markers.
That's good.
Yeah, so I went there, and I'll probably return, like I said, in the winter or fall, maybe, when things start to die again.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's one of those where it's like, I'll probably enjoy this more in the winter when there's not so many bugs.
Yeah, I think, like, a good, crisp September morning is my favorite time to hike. Like, when it's not too cold yet, but, like, most of the bugs have started to go away and the vegetation is starting to recede a little bit and your, like, lines of sight get better, things start to color up. Like, especially in Michigan, that's probably my favorite time to hike. Like, one could say spring, like when the wildflowers start to bloom and like the daffodils and daisies and shit start coming up. Or like when there's good berry patches around, like there's a lot of wild strawberries and blueberries around here on nature trails.
That's one of my favorite things to do now is take pictures of like plants and vegetation that I have no clue what it is. Looks interesting. Then I post the picture and I tag a Facebook friend of mine named Luca, who's like, I don't know what their job is or if it's just an interest, but they know a lot about vegetation and plants.
Plant identification is a hobby, man.
Yeah, and they always post about it. Like that's the majority of their posts, in fact.
That's cool.
So I just like tag them and like test their knowledge. Like, Luca, what is this?
That's perfect, though. I mean, the plant identification is tough, man. There's so many different. There's plants that look similar but aren't the same, like all that. I just know berries. Like, give me a good mulberry tree or like a like blackberry bush. I'm just out there snacking, dog. I don't care.
Oh God!
Everyone's like, dogs piss on that. I'm like, it makes it better.
Hey,
some ammonia in the fertilizer.
Hey, back in the day, I read the Hatchet series by Gary Paulson. And Brian ate a lot of berries when he was surviving. Somehow he didn't get poisoned.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, I got up to the point where I exited onto the main road. Mm-hmm. But then I went back into it because for the second time ever in my life, I saw an owl.
Oh, cool.
I saw it flying, and I was like, holy shit. And I just immediately dashed back into the forest trying to get a picture of it.
Hell yeah. Dude, I saw 2 bald eagles on the river the other day.
Nice.
It was majestic.
Nice.
Yeah. And an osprey, and a couple blue herons, bunch of turtles, a lot of animals, a lot of deer.
Yeah. One thing I love about Blandford Nature Center, I always see at least one deer when I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're real dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb fucking bastards. I hate those things.
Oh, wow. You go Louis C.K. on me here when it comes to deer, right?
It's fucking deer, man.
No, he has a really offensive bit about deer where he calls them both the F word and the N word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was way before he started jacking off from people and got canceled. Don't know how this did cancel him, but somehow it did. But, yeah, that's my suggestion to people. Wade's Nature Reserve. Check out. It's very wild.
Cool.
And nearly an hour in, and I believe it's time for a commercial break.
Break it up.
We'll be right back. Hello, I am Jeffrey Epstein. And in case you all don't know, I've been dead for a while. And despite the awful way that went out, when Courtney Love came in and murdered me, I have to say, heaven's pretty awesome. Did you know that in heaven, they let anyone in? Yeah, God and Jesus truly love and forgive everyone. So, I've just been up here chilling. It's been fun. I've been making out a lot with Adolf Hitler. He's a really good kisser. I have to say, though, Gilbert Gottfried, he is very annoying. I wish he would stop hating on me. It's like, bro, come on. We're all dead here. We're all equal. Come on, just join in on the fun, Gilbert Gottfried. Have a three-way with me, Jeffrey Epstein, and Adolf Hitler. But what I listen to here in heaven between my sexual escapades with dictators and dead comedians? I listen to the Garret Schuelke podcast. It's the Garret Schuelke podcast where Garret Schuelke talks about his adventures, his troubles, his interests, with a variety of guests, from musicians to personal friends to artists to writers. And, it's just great, folks. It's hard for me to describe how great this podcast is. And you know what? Everyone else in heaven loves it. Mao loves it. Stalin loves it. Who just recently died there? Adolf? Oh, wow, that's a lot of people that recently died. I won't name them all. And even better yet, you know what the Garret Schuelke podcast is on now? It's on Podbean. Don't ask me how it got on there. I didn't do anything. I didn't pull any strings to get it on Podbean. I, Jeffrey Epstein, the biggest fan of the Garret Schuelke podcast ever. But yeah, you can find it on Podbean, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Anchor. Find it everywhere. I, Jeffrey Epstein, highly suggest that you listen to the Garret Schuelke podcast. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go have sex again with Adolf Hitler. Bye-bye. Okay, we are back, and damn, what a great commercial that was.
Yeah, something about equal opportunity, pansexual heaven.
Yeah, another thing you missed while you were gone from the podcast, Zach, is that I've been getting, since I've started this new season, just getting a shit ton of endorsements from celebrities to fictional characters and now dead people.
Yeah, posthumous
and
endorsements.
And, I was a little bit on the fence on this one because it's Jeffrey Epstein. I was actually shocked beyond words. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein listens to the Garret Schuelke podcast and wants other people to listen to it.
Well-known philanthropist.
Yep, that and that only. But I decided to run it because the people need to hear it. Plus, really, it really does make me wonder, like, if what he and Gilbert Gottfried say are true, and that God will allow anyone to heaven, who the fuck is going to hell?
I think they call that the upside down now.
Maybe.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure down the line, for all I know, I'll get endorsement from hell somewhere.
Could be. I mean, there's the lords of hell and princes of hell to seek endorsements from.
I mean, I'll accept them too. Like
Beelzebub.
At this point in my career, I will accept any endorsement.
Even Beelzebub.
Yep. Even Jeffrey.
Lord of Flies.
Yep. Him, Jeffrey Epstein. I'm cool with it all. Just something that will get my podcast numbers up. It'll get one more listener on Spotify.
Karanzan. I think that's a prince of hell, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the demon that Aleister Crowley also summoned in the desert, and him and Victor Neuenberg had butt sex too.
Perfect. All in pansexual equal opportunity heaven.
Yep. And they all love the Garret Schuelke podcast.
They certainly seem to.
And just as Jeffrey Epstein said, I don't know how, but maybe he pulled some strings like he said he did. But yeah, GSP is now on Podbean. I don't know. Okay, jokes aside, I don't know how it got on there. Like, because Podbean is one of those pay services.
Huh.
And it's like, it'll give you like a couple of hours for free, and then you have to pay up.
Interesting.
So I just noticed it one day when I was looking on my Anchor dashboard. I'm like, wait, Podbean numbers? What the fuck? And I looked myself up on Podbean. All the episodes are on there.
Maybe it's aggregating from somewhere else.
Yeah, or maybe Anchor made a deal where they could get it through the RSS feed.
That's what I would imagine.
But I'm very happy it's on there because Podbean is like the main place I download all my podcasts from.
Is it?
Yeah, best interface, easy
Interesting.
search.
Yeah, I've been using Spotify just because I pay for Spotify Premium, so it seems convenient. But I used Stitcher often in the past, and like I just recently switched back to iOS. So like I used to use the Apple Podcast app, but that seems like a big trash can these days.
Yeah, Podbean is also one of the places where you can download episodes since I don't got the data plan to like stream shit all the time.
Right.
So gotta download it.
That's helpful. I'm happy with my unlimited data plan. Like I stream a lot of stuff and like tether my connection to my phone when I'm out on the road and stuff if I have to send emails and shit. So it is really helpful.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, folks, Garret Schuelke podcast now on Podbean.
Podbean.
And back to the conversation.
Meow.
All right, so we both talked about our Memorial Day weekend adventures.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other camping trip you did?
I did a overnight stretch kayaking the Kalamazoo River from its like source waters in Homer on the South Branch, I think it is. We went up through Albion, then through Marshall and into Battle Creek. It was a pretty good paddle. There's a couple of dam portages. The one in Albion is pretty well equipped to get around. The one in Marshall is a little more difficult. So if paddlers are looking for paddling recommendations in southern Michigan on the Garret Schuelke podcast, then I would recommend doing Homer to Marshall or doing Marshall to Battle Creek and not doing those trips consecutively because it's like 30 river miles.
Did you get poison ivy this time around?
I did not get poison. We definitely saw a lot of poison ivy, but like I'm more diligent about looking out for it.
Okay, because last time I recall you doing paddling, you got a shit ton of poison ivy on you.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and you said you did some camping on this trip.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little stealther. There's some like industrial land just west of Marshall that seemed opportune. Like it was getting dark and there's a little patch of trees there and a kind of sheltered area to get off of the river. So we went back a couple 100 feet and set up the hammocks, but I'd been paddling for hours and I was super tired. So I just set up the hammock and the bug net and just fell right asleep there in my shorts. I didn't even bother getting a sleeping bag out or anything. It was like 80 degrees overnight and like 90% humidity. So just kind of laid there, slept for 6 or 7 hours, got up, made some cold instant coffee, ate a protein bar and got back on the river and paddled the next day from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It was a long day of paddling, man.
Yeah, did you camp anymore after that?
No, just the one night.
Okay, and this is something I want to talk about because both on and off this podcast, we've talked about your adventures with camping, how you have a favorite spot, you do this and that.
Yeah.
Is this your first time stealth camping?
No.
Oh, it hasn't.
Yeah. Oh, so, no, yeah, I've done that several times.
Yeah, let's hear about that because I'm actually really been becoming interested in stealth camping this past year.
Well, I mean, the first thing that you want to look out for is like you don't want to be like camping on people's private property. So it's like if you're looking at the map of like a trip that you're going to plan, just look for like on Google Maps for like abandoned factories and shit like that, places where like people aren't really likely to congregate. And especially on the river, like many times you have like river access to the back end of somebody's like 40 or 80 acre parcel, and a lot of that like unused industrial land is like, it's not necessarily that you're allowed to camp there, it's that you won't be bothered if you camp there. Like if you set up an encampment there, you'll likely be bothered immediately.
Very obvious.
But for the purpose of stealth camping, it's usually just like, well, I need to sleep here, so I'm just going to sleep here and then get out. But like, of course, my ethos of leave no trace is kind of applicable here. Like anytime I do a stealth camp, I'm going to be really light footprint. Like I'm either going to use the hammock exclusively, or I'm going to use like a little tarp and just try to like hide under a bunch of branches and stuff. Like I have a camouflage tarp if I need to be a little secretive. But like, it's like if someone sees my orange hammock strung up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, I feel like they most of the time know what happened, or they'll just assume that I'm a homeless guy, and like 9 times out of 10 you won't be bothered. But if it's like on someone's land and they wake up in the morning and they're drinking coffee and they see an orange hammock and some guy just like shitting in the woods in their backyard, it's like, okay, they're probably going to come up with a shotgun.
But sir, I've dug a 6 feet hole. It's good.
I mean, if you're sleeping in your vehicle, it becomes a lot easier too. Like, you can park in hospital parking lots and stuff and take naps. Like, people won't really harass you that much. It's kind of like, you just want to plan where you're going to be least likely to be bothered for like 6 to 7 hours. And try to get in there just before dark and get out of there just as soon as you possibly can in the morning, not stick in one spot for too long. Most of the time you don't get bothered.
What was the first time you ever went stealth camping?
There was one night where I did like 30 miles on the Appalachian Trail, and I had went into town to do a resupply and then hitchhiked back to the trailhead, but it was like dark by the time I got back. So I just kind of went into the brush in like not a highway median, but similar. It was like a couple of industrial roads, and there's like a little maybe 3 acre chunk of land that was just like mixed brush, like right by some commercial buildings. And I definitely set up the hammock like real low to the ground. That was the first time I camped in like a non-sanctioned campground that like that was against the rules to camp in, but I did it anyway. And then like up in northern Michigan, there's a trail that we were on, and we did a little stealther there because it's like a 30-mile loop, and there's only one campground, but we like ended at that campground rather than starting at it or like making it the halfway point, because there's like several on points, like points where you get onto this loop, and we could have planned it a little better and actually stayed at that campground, but we ended up not being able to make it, so we just went a couple 100 feet off the trail and set up the hammocks, nice and quiet.
All right, and so I can already tell you probably prefer just regular camping over stealth camping, right?
Yeah, I mean, camping in an area that's set up for it, usually you'd have water access and like a place to throw your trash away at least, or like a cleared spot that has no poison ivy to set up a tent. But
yeah, is there anything about stealth camping that you think is superior to normal camping, or anything that you like better about it?
I mean, it can be more convenient as a skill. Like, it opens up more opportunities for you to take trips, because like there's not a sanctioned campground on the Kalamazoo River, at least in that section. I think there is near Galesburg, where you can like paddle up to it and camp there, and that's pretty frequent up north, like in the Pine River and stuff. There's a bunch of campgrounds that have access to the Pine River, and like it's very common on whitewater rivers for there to be campgrounds and stuff. But in this particular section, it's not really developed in that way. So there's not, like, if you want to do like Homer to Saugatuck on the Kalamazoo River, like Source to where it hits the lake, like that's like a 3 or 4 day trip. You got to stay somewhere. So like having a hammock and like a little lightweight sleep setup and a cook set with you and like a water filter, it opens up a lot more possibilities. you know.
Yeah. What was your scariest stealth camping experience? Like, was there ever a time where like it was a little bit shady, or you were kind of nervous about camping there?
Not really. I mean, there was one. My friend Josh and Sylvia and I did some river near the Indiana border. I don't even remember which one it was. And we did an overnight down there. And it was starting to get pretty late. It was like 4th of July weekend. And we ended up camping on some private property, like on a duck blind. And like, if they had chosen to come and hunt ducks on their property that morning, like that, we definitely would have been busted.
Duck blind, like there was a duck blind there and you guys went into it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a pretty well established duck blind. Like we went out behind it so that we were obscured by its camouflage. But like we definitely sat in the duck blind and made breakfast and shit like that. So like it was most likely private property, and if it wasn't, it was well trafficked. So we got lucky there.
Okay, most of what you just told me about your stealth camping experiences comes from you just like doing something else, like kayaking. Or
yeah, it comes out of necessity most of the time, not out of intention.
Yeah, you never like intentionally like, oh hey, there's an abandoned factory over here. I think I'll go camping that night.
No, I mean I guess I would, but like my days of making media like that are not necessarily over, but haven't been around for a while, and like feel like there's a lot of people doing a great job with that kind of content. Maybe not necessarily in the state of Michigan, but
oh god, thank you because that is a great transition.
All right.
Because the reason I asked you about this because of a certain YouTuber. We got plenty of time.
Oh no, I thought I had a notification.
Right. So what time you gotta leave?
Probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
There's plenty of time.
Because there's a certain individual that I've become a huge fan of on YouTube this past year. Mm-hmm. Much to my surprise, you and Kevin both know of him because I mentioned it in New Orleans. You're like, oh yeah, him.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, I'm talking about a gentleman from Canada named Steve Wallis.
Yep, Camping with Steve.
Camping with Steve. He is that's his YouTube channel, and yeah, he does every type of camping imaginable. But his most popular ones, the ones that got me into him, is his stealth camping.
Mm-hmm. He'll like camp in roundabouts and like behind police stations and all sorts of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I got into him through the Street Fighters group, the official group for Street Fight Radio podcast I like. Yeah, they just posted a video of him. And of course, the famous saying for popular people is like, someone go on Street Fight. So like, Steve Wallis, go on Street Fights. Zach Elmblad, go on Street Fight.
I don't want to street fight anyone.
Jeffrey Epstein, go on Street Fight. It's actually a really great podcast. I think you dig it. But
okay.
But yeah. First video I ever saw of him was him camping in an abandoned gas station.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah. What was your first experience with Steve Wallis?
Well, I started watching Steve when I was researching hot tents, and he was like, he had made
what's a hot tent?
It's a tent with a stove in it.
Oh, okay.
And he had made one out of like a ice fishing shanty that he was staying in.
Oh yeah, was that one with him and Crazy Neighbor?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Has a friend that he works with a lot called Crazy Neighbor.
Yep.
Who's just as wholesome as him. He's got a beard and he like waves at the camera with both hands. Hi, Steve.
Yep, wears camouflage and like a fun hat.
Yeah. Dude, my coworker Chad, who somehow knew of Steve Wallis before me, was like, Crazy Neighbor's kind of cringe. I'm like, what?
No, he's wholesome.
How could you say that?
It's so Canadian.
They're both very Canadian.
Yes, they are.
And when I first got into him, like, Chad, like, almost convinced me that Steve Wallis was transphobic.
Huh.
Because the only reason he did, I was like, bullshit, he is not. But then Chad broke out into a Canadian accent that was so accurate to Steve. I thought he was telling the truth. It's like, oh, I only believe in the two genders, eh?
You got deep faked.
I was like, holy shit. But then I watched some videos, I'm like, okay, he's not. He's not even really that political.
No.
But, Yeah, so as someone who has stealth camp, but overall has had years of camping and hiking experience.
Mm-hmm. I slept in a bathroom once on Isle Royale.
Wait. Okay, interrupting this. Tell us about this.
Oh, that was forever ago, dude. That was like 1999, 1998. Kevin and I were on...
Forget years. You have decades of experience.
That was on Isle Royale. Kevin's uncles took us out when we were kids. I would have been like 14 or 15 back then. And we did like a 2-week... we paddled the rivers across the center of Isle Royale by canoe. And one of the uncles got a little feisty because he had some trouble at home and had been out of cigarettes for a couple of days. And he had a little temper tantrum and was throwing some shit at us because we were punk-ass kids. So we decided to ditch, and we ended up not sleeping in the little lean-to cabin that the uncles slept in. And we took our sleeping bags and went down to the bathroom on the dock. And it was cold as shit out there. So we had our little sleeping bags, and we would, the hand dryers, the, warm air hand dryers. We would, press that and, fill up our sleeping bags with warm air and then curl up on the tile floor in the bathroom.
So this is the middle of winter and it was still functional.
It wasn't winter. It was, fall-ish. But it's so far north that it was cold no matter what you did. And there was a couple of rainstorms that had moved in, and it was pretty gnarly weather up there.
So this was like an actual bathroom. It wasn't like a portage on there.
No, correct. It was there's it would stretch to call it a city. It's like a little outpost on one end of the island that has like a little shop and like an amphitheater and a ranger station and a Coast Guard station and a couple cabins and stuff. And there's like a little gift shop and a public bathroom there. And we stayed in the public bathroom on the dock.
Okay.
Woke up the next morning, linked up with the uncles, got apologized to, and then got back on the boat to go back to Houghton.
How clean was the bathroom?
Pretty clean. It was 90s national park. They were pretty well funded, and people didn't just shit all over walls back then. It's kind of a remote place. It's very difficult to get to. There's not a lot of vandalism that happens up there, or at least not at the time.
Did either of you use the bathroom while you were there?
Presumably we did. I don't remember those details.
like you weren't sleeping, was awakened by Kevin just
shitting. It sounds like something that could have happened, but I think we were both scared shitless at the time.
All right. Back to after that nice little detour.
Steve Wallis.
Steve Wallis.
Never camped in a bathroom.
Yeah. Stealth camping in a portage on.
Hear more ideas for Steve.
Okay, I'm not going to cook tonight because I'm kind of sick and sleeping in here.
Right.
The Patreon followers, I have to follow them. Anyway, so from you, an experienced adventurer, experienced hiker, experienced camper, what is your opinion of Steve Wallis?
I like Steve. He's a fun guy. He's working stiff. Seems like a fisherman type. He's just having fun with it, dude. I think the most recent one, he camps under a beach umbrella or stuff like that.
Yep, that's the latest one.
There's been ones where he went to Dollar General and just bought a tarp or something.
Canadian Tire.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, or he'll buy a shower curtain and camp under it, or make a tent out of saran wrap,
plastic bubble wrap.
Yep, he's done all sorts of fun stuff. I think it's fun. It's wholesome YouTube. He just drinks a little beer, calls it Step 2. It's fun.
Yeah, that was one of my first posts on his official Camping with Steve group.
Yeah.
I think immediately got deleted because I'm sure other people have done it, of course. I was like, what if instead of drinking beer for Step 2, he took a hit from the bong?
Right. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure people say that all the time.
I know. So I posted cringe. I'm sorry, Steve.
He's pretty realistic in the food that he eats too. That's one thing.
That's my favorite part, and this is very weird of me to admit, but when I do my own home cooked meals, it's mostly pre-cooked meat, then add veggies or mashed potatoes, stuff you put water in, then put in, or baked beans, of course,
right?
Because this podcast are eating beans.
Bean eaters here.
I don't know why, but I like to do that when I like to eat that when I'm watching a Steve video because for some reason it makes it taste better.
Steve's voice tastes better with beans.
Yeah, no, he cooks up a lot of really great stuff.
Mm-hmm. He does.
I mean, probably the worst one, and they made a meme about it, was like, I think he was camping on his property just trying something out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, tonight for our dinner, beautiful wife made a salad. But the meme is that he says that, but then they flash cut to him looking at the fire, kind of sad looking. Because most of his meals are very hearty, like they're hearty, mostly meat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a variety. I can't even name it all. Like a lot of pastas, surprisingly.
Like wraps made with bag salads and lunch meat.
Yeah. I do agree. He did one thing that looked disgusting. No, it wasn't. Like he did like this was like winter camping. He like pre-made like eggs, but he like put in like a water bottle the same size as this Smart Water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, we are sponsored by Smart Water, which you get at Drake's Party Store.
I ought to just go ahead and have myself a sip.
Chug, chug, chug.
I feel smarter.
Damn right. You get at Drake's Party Store.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
It's got electrolytes.
Yeah. Anyway, so Steve put in the eggs into here and like shook it up so he could like make a scrambled.
Mm-hmm.
But he also put mushrooms in it, which made it taste good.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked disgusting.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like it was like
slurry.
It was like this gray shit. It looked like something that a meth head would.
Yeah.
And even he was like, okay, this looks disgusting. I don't know if this is a good idea. Then he cooks it up. This is delicious.
Dude,
though I don't think I would prepare it this way again because it looked bad.
I met a hiker in Pennsylvania once who was hiking up to Maine on the Appalachian Trail to like move. So he was like hiking away from his hometown to like find his future. So it was like him and his dog, right? And he made me
classic story.
he made me stir fried rice with Spam, and he seasoned the Spam with soy sauce and honey, and it was so fucking good. Like, it was one of the best trail cooked meals that I ever had somebody make for me, and it was just hilarious because it's just like rice, like instant rice and Spam and like packets from fucking Panda Express or whatever, but it was really, really good. So I've had some interesting meals on the trail.
Probably the closest I've had to this was back when I was a teenager. You know, Heinz ketchup for some reason decided to like start coloring their ketchup different colors,
green
like
and purple.
Green
ketchup
and purple, yeah. And it's supposed to be like a kid thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh look, I'm eating green slime.
Yep.
And we had like a green one. And one day my mom was like making a pot roast or something, and she decided to like, since we were kind of out of barbecue sauce, she decided to put in some of this green ketchup. So then we get it, and it was like the pot roast was like a brownish green color. And we're all eating it, and God, it tasted like we expected it to, but we were just so turned off by the color that it was
the
like...
green color was hard to stomach.
Yeah, we were just like... Even she was like, yeah, this was a bad idea. And thankfully, Heinz got through their head to stop doing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that's my weird thing with Steve Wallis, is that I like to eat my shitty dinners while watching him camp and cook his own meals because it makes mine taste better for some reason. What are your favorite type of videos of his? Because my personal favorite is stealth camping for one.
Oh yeah.
But stealth camping somewhere in the winter time.
Yeah,
like
his winter camping videos are fun.
Yeah, those are my personal favorite because there's kind of more of a danger element there because you're in the cold. I think he's in Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, he's up there for sure.
Yeah, so and there's been a couple of times where he's like minus 50 degrees stealth camping.
Yeah, dude. There's another guy named Survival Russia.
Survival Russia.
Yeah, he like has a tank and shit and like has a big old like chunk of property up in oh god, where's the like frozen tundra wasteland in Russia that they always say they're gonna send you to? Siberia.
Siberia.
Yeah, he lives in Siberia, and like he does a lot of winter camping videos with like big hunting tents and like hot tents and like builds little shelters and igloos and stuff.
Survival Russia.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
I'm looking that up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a lot of good videos that are sort of similar. Like.
Yeah. This guy's completely different from Steve or Survival.
Definitely.
No,
yeah.
No. You ever heard of a traveler named Shai?
Yeah. I know him
Shai.
well,
Yeah. Chad from work also got me hooked on him.
Illegal freedom.
Yep, illegal freedom. And God, he is insane too. Like
that's the type of shit Kevin and I used to do.
Yeah.
Break into abandoned buildings and just like walk around on the catwalks and shit.
Yeah, a lot of parkour stuff, which Steve won't do because Steve had an accident where he fell off a cliff or some shit, and he fucked himself bad. Like that's why he's got like scar on his cheek and his nose, and why he's afraid of heights.
Yeah,
which is very understandable when you fall on your fucking face down mountain.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, Shai, holy shit, especially his trip through like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Before World War III happened.
Yep. That was only like a year before all that stuff started happening. Yeah. He goes to Odessa and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. God, that was the most insane part of the war so far, by the way, where they talk about like Russia is shelling the Chernobyl nuclear plant. Like, what the fuck?
What in the dystopian fuck?
First of all, I can't believe it's still operating. Like, I thought it was all barren and now people can visit because the radiation levels were that low. Well, I didn't know they were still operating as a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, I think there's like other reactors in it.
I know. It's one of those things where it's like, maybe you should let that one lie.
Right.
Go build one next door to it.
They're like encapsulating it in concrete again, like putting another shroud around it, or at least they were. Yeah, until Russia decided it was a great idea to fucking bomb it. Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was there, dude. I mean... Because they're insane. It's a world war. You do a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah. Let's nuke the nuclear power plant. God. I wonder if after the shelling, the elephant's foot's still there. Well, the elephant's foot is going to be there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably some fucking... At least one or two Russian soldiers who are like, I don't know. Let's go poke it. Yeah, they go up and they're trying to like teabag it or something. Pour vodka on it. It's twerking from the fucking elephant's foot. Okay, but back to Shai. Yeah. Another fun thing about Shai is that he has a Twitter account that he barely is on. Every time he comes on there, I'm still alive. Perfect. I think one of my favorite videos is like he was in this town, and part of it he goes into a school, and like he just plays on the piano there. And then these two girls that are also in there like freaked out and then ran towards the sound. Which, first of all, I guess things must be different in Eastern Europe because if I was in an abandoned building and I heard a piano play, I would not run to it. Right. These two girls did, and they're like, oh, hello. We didn't know anyone else was in here. But unlike him, kind of like Steve Wallis, he like does his best to like not literally break shit, do stuff that will get him in trouble. Like he's already doing enough to get him in trouble. He doesn't want to add more to it. Exactly. But these girls did, and they like just busted on in because why the fuck not? You're in Eastern Europe. Might as well live that dystopia. Right. And after they left, he's like, ugh, stupid bitches are going to get me in trouble with authorities. Good thing I got cameras so they don't know that I wasn't the one that busted those windows. That's fair, though, dude. Like, like, you're not there to fuck shit up. Like, he's just there to see stuff that people don't normally see. Like, he's really respectful of that stuff.
The only thing about Shy that's really annoying is that he's really individualistic to the point where he'll ramble on about it during like his bus trips or shit. Like,
yeah,
this is why I think of individualism. I think it's good. Government bad. Blah blah blah. It's like, just go check out an abandoned Soviet tomato shop or something, dude. I don't care. I don't care about your libertarian arguments.
Yeah, and he stopped traveling with those other guys too because they like were always making him do stuff and like didn't want to go to places he wanted to go.
Really?
Yeah, like that Poison guy.
Okay. I admit I'm a bigger Steve Wallis fan than I am Shy.
Okay.
Shy's cool, but he's not as wholesome.
Definitely not.
But he did travel with some people.
Yeah.
So get the lowdown on this.
Well, like in some of his more recent videos, like the one across Sardinia, he kind of talks like, or there was one where he was like in Switzerland on bike, and like his buddy dropped out of it halfway through, and then he ended up just like biking through the mountains. And I think he was saying, like, from now on, I'm just going to adventure solo because, like, I don't want to be constrained by, like, other people's needs and stuff like that.
Dude, that's kind of how I feel. That's why I tend to travel on my own a lot.
It makes a lot of sense, dude. It can be really frustrating to have a big group of people that you're with, or even just, like, one or two travel partners, because, you know...
Well, we kind of... Well, more so you kind of had that experience a couple months back. And
yeah.
We won't get into that, though, because... Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. No, another Shy video I watched one of his shorter ones. Because unlike Steve Wallis, who, like, his max was, like, 40 minutes or something, Shy will give you, like, 3-4 hours of video.
Yeah, in multiple parts.
Yeah, and one of them was, like, him and his friend were, like, parkouring off the top of, like, a Russian business building.
Yep.
First, they thought they were getting caught because some guy's like, hey, buddy, what are you doing on my roof? So they jump onto, like, another one and start going down on it, down it. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, shit, it's all office buildings.
Yeah, and they just go through the office building.
Yeah, and they're like, hello, maintenance.
Yeah.
God, you know what it reminds me of? You ever see, like, first-person movies, like Hardcore Henry or something?
No.
Dude, Hardcore Henry, highly suggests that. I love that action flick. Yeah, it reminds me of that because you're just seeing like his cam that he has attached to him. So it's like, oh god, it's actually more scary than Steve Wallis possibly getting found out by like a highway patrolman or something. Because you're seeing first person this guy going, shit. He's jumping off buildings.
Wow.
So yeah, okay. We got your general opinion of Steve Wallis. Mm-hmm. He gets the Elmblad approval.
He does.
One thing he always mentions, like stuff like, "Okay, I'm being a bad stealth camper. Don't do what I do." Matter of fact, that's somehow the most tense times when he breaks his stealth camp rules and like goes out to like get like a bigger picture of like where he's at. He's like, oh no, I think they spotted me. Is there anything about Steve Wallis's, his ways about doing things that you as an experienced camper would criticize? We're saying with this with like all the holy fuck. I am so sorry. Good thing I had the cap on my smart water because I actually knocked it down and it's like directly at your cell phone.
It's fine. We're all dry here.
I mean, I already paid you $10 to edit my new song.
It's true.
I don't think I need to pay for a cell phone.
Cash in hand.
Yeah. So anyway, we say that I ask this with all the love in the world of Steve Wallis. Steve, come on my podcast. But as a experienced camper and adventurer yourself, is there anything about Steve's way of going about that irks you, where you're like, dude, don't?
Not really. I mean, he's pretty good about talking about cleaning up after yourself and like not fucking with private landowners and like I'm not. I'm pro Steve Wallis. I think he's responsible. I would be willing to bet that a lot of these places he has permission to go into. Like,
That's a hot take.
Hot take, yeah. But
actually, there's been one controversy so far. It has really nothing to do with Steve. There's this other camper guy. I can't remember his name, but it's a good thing because he probably shouldn't get free ads around here anyway. And he's kind of considered like someone who jumped on the stealth camping bandwagon. Like guys like Steve and them are putting up stuff, bushcraft survivalist videos.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like seemed to just hop onto it. And apparently he was such a good relationship with Steve that he had Steve's phone number. So like he did a video where he like claimed that he was camping in a big snow mound in a Walmart parking lot. Like he went into the Walmart, bought like a mini shovel and shit. Then he went behind it and like dug a hole so he could go camp in there. And he's like, okay, I'm in. I'm gonna call Steve, and he did. Steve's in the video via phone. But they're calling it a fake, and it probably is because there's some shots where like he comes out, but you can see like a hotel in the background. And that was a big controversy because they're like, does Steve Wallis endorse him? Steve Wallis friends with this phony?
Have you heard about the guy who like crashed a plane in California for YouTube views? Yeah, he like strapped. There's a bunch of like analysis videos of like the guy. Like he claims that the engines died and he just like jumped out of the plane, but it's like he's been like on aviation YouTube for years and he like never flies with a parachute. But in that video, he's like, I always fly with a parachute because you never know what'll happen. And then suspiciously, he has like fire extinguishers taped to his legs and like he goes back to get the GoPros from his crash site. Like, instead of just, like, trying to get help.
Wait, what's the reason for the fire extinguisher being taken?
In case he lands in a fire from crashing his own airplane.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when you watch the video.
Oh, God, reach down to my leg.
Yeah, it's like his engine stalls and you see, like, multiple angles of, like, the propeller just, like, standing there. And he's, like, looking around. He's like, shit, I'm going to have to bail. And then he just, like, jumps out the door and, like, jumps out of the plane. Like, there's, like, 30 seconds or whatever. But, like, there's obviously protocols. If your engine fails, like, while you're flying, like, you're supposed to glide down to an airport or glide down to an interstate or, like, an open field or something.
Was this guy doing, like, all the wrong things? Like, he immediately started diving? Like, the engine
It wasn't quite that bad, but it was very close to that.
The engines died. It's like shaking the camera.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Exactly. It was basically like that. He's like, oh, fuck, I have an engine failure. I think I'm going to have to bail. And then he, like, presses a couple things, and he's like, yep, but you're supposed to, like, report it to the tower and stuff. Like, there's a bunch of protocols for emergencies that you're, like, he had a pilot's license, so he should have done all of these things, and he didn't do any of them. He just fucking jumped out of the thing. So he's, like, losing his license, and he's financially responsible for it and shit.
Well, I'm sure the monetization from his YouTube video will more than make up for it.
Right, well, that's what everybody is basically saying. It's like, did this guy crash a plane in a protected wilderness for YouTube views? Like, this is what we've come to as a society.
Crashing my plane for clout.
Right.
All right, so yeah, yay Steve Wallis, yay Survival Russia, yay Shai.
Yep.
Yay, overall, yay to all these creators who are going on adventures that we're all now too old and fat to do.
Lone Wolf 902. That's a good one, too.
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
Lone Wolf 902.
Oh, what's he do?
He does mostly, like, hammock camping and hot tent camping.
Okay, yeah.
But he, like, always cooks good food, like, cooks steak on cast iron and shit, and, like, makes coffee in a weird way.
Okay, I gotta look this up, because that actually sounds up my alley, too, with my whole dinner and watching other guys eat dinner.
Yeah, dude.
That's, like, my thing, apparently, now. I'm that kind of guy.
I think he has a dog, too.
Oh, even better.
Yep.
What's his name?
Lone Wolf 902.
90210.
I'm pretty sure it's 902. It's numbers at the end.
I'm mixing up with the popular show 90210.
90210. Lone Wolf 902.
All right. Well, speaking of adventure, I went on a Chicago adventure recently.
Nice.
Last week. And I came back sick with a cold again. Kind of like my New Orleans adventure. Came back with a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like the new thing? Because I just turned 35 earlier this month.
You just get sick every time you.
Yeah, is that gonna be like the new thing for me, Zach? Like, if I go on like a big week or near week-long adventure, I'm just gonna come back sick.
I don't know. The last time I went on a week-long adventure when I was 35, I came back and COVID happened. So I guess yes.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it only takes like 2-3 days for me to get over it.
Mm.
I even have a routine now. Take Motrin, take Alka for the fever, take Alka-Seltzer, which also helps with the fever, but more so to like clear out your sinuses and that.
Mm-hmm.
Hot showers for relaxation, sinuses, and sleep.
Maybe you're just allergic to other humans.
Maybe.
In group.
I mean, that's also another thing I consider both in Chicago and New Orleans. You have to understand people. When I do go on these adventures, I go all out day and night. Mm-hmm. And part of that is that I just like tongue kissing people. Really, I'm just making out.
Spit swap.
I am making out with numerous people of all genders and sexualities and races. Just
Pansexual equal opportunity heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
Featuring Jeffrey Epstein and Adolf Hitler.
Oh God, I remember. Well, they say in heaven you forget all that. Anyway. But,
you don't remember your past lives?
No, it doesn't matter anymore.
All is
like,
forgiven.
The lion lays down with the lamb, which means Jesus is laying down with Adolf Hitler.
Mm-hmm. And bees made honey in the lion's skull.
Yeah. Which is kind of what they did to JFK when he went to heaven, because he had that big hole in the head. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You hear about John Hinckley Jr.?
No.
Yeah, he's a famous musician now, and he's going out on tour. And they canceled a few dates recently, because he's John Hinckley Jr., the guy who almost saved the world by killing Reagan.
Right. For Jodie Foster, right?
And Jodie Foster was actually impressed.
Yeah, so I saw that blurb somewhere in my news feed the other day. It's like a headshot of Jodie Foster. It's like, I was actually impressed. Like, wait, what?
Can you imagine if he did that today? It'd probably be some shit like, I want to impress Amber Heard.
Right, for real.
Amber Heard would show her appreciation by writing a defaming column in the New York Times.
After being found guilty of defamation.
Yep.
So, excellent move.
But yeah, came back for a recent trip to Chicago, and holy shit, dude. I did indeed go all out. Probably the most high I've ever been ever since they started legalizing. Since they legalized it in Michigan, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Like every night. Like,
nice.
Holy shit.
Smoking that herb.
Yeah, so I did that. Did a lot, visited some same shops, went to a lot of shows. Went once again to visit some famous graves, which is why I say that maps from graveyards are worse than maps from like nature trails and shit. Like they're bad. Like the one I went to in Forest Park, which has like the famous graves of like the Haymarket Martyrs, Emma Goldman, a bunch of radicals. Mm-hmm. Even Ernest Hemingway's parents are in there. But they give me the map, and God, I don't remember the name of it, but like, remember the 90s, the type of printout paper that they had? Like, you ever see like...
Neon green?
Something like that, but like, it's stuff like they would use, I think, in fax machines, or like in an action film, some guy like dramatically rips it out and then looks at it and is like, my God. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that kind of like design and shit. Like 90s graphic design of the cemetery. I'm like, this is 2020. You can't print out something better?
Right, give me a PDF.
Yeah, I had to look up on my phone and I got better map than this.
Augmented reality graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 35 now, by the way, people. It sucks. I miss my youth.
Yeah, age tends to, like, just increase and not decrease. Yeah. 36 comes after 35, I'm told.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I passed through that one already.
Fuck. How's it feel?
Old.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, at least I still have this podcast. How old I am.
Right.
And I still have devoted listeners to this podcast.
Good. Hello, devoted listeners.
Who are listening to this bullshit and who I'm sure are just loving these commercials that I'm doing. Nothing cringe about that at all.
No.
No, these are totally real commercials, by the way. Not me doing an awful imitation. God, what else I want to talk about?
I don't know, man.
Anything you want to talk about?
I don't know. I haven't really been doing much career type stuff lately. I've just been working, cleaning up, adventuring.
Oh, I do know something I want to talk about, and this is actually a very deep subject.
All right.
Let me hit the last of the smart water.
The deepest depths with Garret Schuelke on his Pansexual Equal Opportunity podcast.
No, that's actually going to probably be the title. Was it Pansexual Heaven or something?
Pansexual Equal Opportunity Heaven.
Yeah, let me write that.
That's good. That's a good.
Because I'm going to keep forgetting it if I...
Your advertisement series, Pansexual Equal Opportunity Heaven.
Pansexual Equal Opportunity Heaven. This is my fat fingering, because see how I spell opportunity?
Oppor2E2.
Yeah, do that shit.
Autocorrect.
No, I remember when I first met Chad at work, and like we gave each other our numbers.
Digits.
Yeah, I think I like sent him like a text, but I don't know why I wrote, but it came out as like squiggle or something. Is it autocorrect in my fat fingering? He just replies back, I am way too high for this shit. Okay, now I know what I want to talk about. I kind of want your advice.
All right.
Because this is something I'm actually kind of starting to work on myself.
In a public forum. All
Yeah,
right,
public
let's
forum.
do it. Public forum advice.
Yeah, you see, March for me was not a good mental health month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did a lot of cool stuff, obviously, but overall it was just complete garbage, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how it started. Last time we met, I talked about a local comedian who kind of went off the rails a little bit. And, yeah, it was a pretty big bummer. I think that was like the official start of it, him going off on that.
Mm-hmm.
And for an update on him, he and his wife are now separated, and he's living with his folks.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, shit's not going good for him.
Oh, poor pickle man.
Yeah, despite his big mouth. God, I'm not going to brag about it. I'm really not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so despite his talk, he's not doing good. But anyway, I think that was like the start of it, like at the end of April. And then the rest of the month, there's something that happens to me like every month is that I kind of have like a day usually where like I kind of get existential dread because I'm not as famous or as knowable as I would like to be with my work, especially.
Right.
You know, I just get like, oh God, it's not working. I suck. Why am I doing this? And there's other factors that like, and this usually happens at work too, where I hate being. So like, it kind of like latches on and makes things worse.
Sure.
Usually it lasts a couple of hours, maybe a day. But for some reason, this time around, it's stuck for like nearly the entire month. And it like colored everything I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually made things worse too. Like, for example, during that conversation with that comedian, had another comedian from Grand Rapids who replied to me saying like, "What the fuck you talking about, Garret Schuelke? Pickle? You think you're funny and relevant? Gent Bent, you zero.
Wow.
Gent, Gent,
Gent
not
Bent.
So it was funny. I posted and everything, right, because this guy, I guess, used to be a comedian. Now he's just like a craft beer bro or something. Yeah, so I didn't really think anything of it because I posted and people liked me making fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came here to Kalamazoo to see Built to Spill at Bell's Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who was in the fucking audience?
Uh-oh.
That guy, and it pissed me off for some reason.
Mm.
And I sincerely thought about confronting him, be like, hey, is this you? Would you like to tell me to get bent again, you asshole?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I know, and I didn't. And eventually Built to Spill came on. I kind of forgot about it, but it's like, you're watching this band, like, yeah. But then you'll look over, and there he is enjoying it, too.
You're not allowed to enjoy things I enjoy, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just little shit like that just flavored the month.
Sure.
And it ended in a very spectacular fashion. Because at work, we call this dickhead John. He's an old man. Even though he's like 5 years younger than my parents. He was born in 1964. My mom in 60, my dad in 58. Looks like absolute fucking garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, complete white hair, big shaggy white beard. Kind of, I call him meth mouth because he barely has any teeth. Talks like this. You know, people who don't have teeth, he kind of like talk like this.
Yep.
And he has like the most old man smell I've ever. Like, you know how old people just smell a certain way?
Yeah, it's like mothball.
Yeah,
and
he's
urine,
got that.
Old Spice from 1983.
Yeah. Yep.
Brute.
Yep. And me and this guy do not like each other, but it's usually like we have like one blow up a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that blow up decided to happen this time because he did not like me being on my phone. Because usually when I check my phone, I like go down to like the end of the aisle where no one is and checks it.
Mm-hmm.
So he yells at me, and I yell back, fuck you. And we go back and forth. He calls me a lazy son of a bitch, lazy motherfucker, a faggot, piece of shit, and something else I didn't hear because I was yelling at him. Me, I called him a piece of shit, smelly, meth mouth, asshole, and I yelled that he should come up and say it to my face. Because, by the way, he didn't like come up and yell at me.
Mm-hmm.
He was literally just yelled it like from behind, like, someone get off their fucking phone, and as he's walking away while he's yelling.
What a champion.
Yeah, and and that was, as I say, this was the climax of it, because this was like the most angry that I got.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was just fueling with rage, very tense. Like, I'm shaking with rage as I'm selecting the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like 30 minutes left in the day. And on top of that, the very next day I have Wednesdays off. I uploaded my album, Neo Beat Glory, I Hate Living the Future. It's out now on Bandcamp. You can buy for $5.
$5.
Yeah, and this is a great day, my very first album as an artist, musical artist. And it was ruined because I was so angry at this ancient piece of shit. So it was like, yeah, upload an album. It's like, God, I want to punch that motherfucker so bad.
Fuck the insignificance.
I know, so it ruined my fucking album release. Because I was just fuming about it. And then the next day after, still fuming. And kind of like the other times we've gotten into it, you just completely ignore each other.
Mm.
And I'm still fuming, still very tense, still want to, like... I was waiting for us to, like, be alone someplace, like, or walk down the aisle at the same time with no one around, so I could call him a pussy, or say, hey, asshole, you want to say something else to me? You want to fucking fight? And, didn't happen. And here's the strange thing. There's a podcaster, his name's Matt Chrisman. He's one of the co-hosts of Chapo Trap House. Mm-hmm. He also runs his own little thing called Grill Stream or Kush Vlogs.
Okay.
And during this particular one I was listening to, he's doing some political stuff that he was talking about. But then at the end of it, like the last half hour, he just goes into a monologue where he talks about how like you need to let love into your life. And he goes about his own anxieties. Like he's got it really bad. Like his anxieties made him like believe he had cancer one time, or that he was having a heart attack. Which I was there one time. I did have a panic attack that was so bad I thought I was having a heart attack. But yeah, he was saying stuff like, but you have to remember, the people out there that love you. You need to let love into your life. And then pessimistically, more so, he said like, no, you can reach out there to grasp love, but love doesn't have to grasp you back. And for some reason, this calmed me the fuck down. Mm-hmm. And in a way that if I started like not tense up anymore, and it felt like the anger was leaving me. Mm-hmm. Like you ever see like a cartoon like or an anime of like someone powering up or like they're possessed by something and it leaves their body? It just like it flows out and then they kind of just drop. Mm-hmm. It was almost like that. Yeah. And the rest of the day, my anger was gone towards this guy. Like, my body still hurt because I was tense up. Yeah. But I felt no rage towards this guy, no anger. I didn't want to say anything. And, yeah, it was just like a month long of just feeling like shit, anger, depression, anxiety, just left it. That's why June's been so good for me so far. Good. And this is something I want to work on with myself, is that, as you know, here on the Garret Schuelke podcast, I never get angry. I never get angry about certain things. I never obsess over past beefs or any of that shit. Mm-hmm. How could I, Garret Schuelke, ever do that, you ask? Right. Okay, I do, actually. And I'm sure the listeners are very happy about hearing these people that they don't know anything about. But I'm really trying to work on that. I'm trying to... Because, you see, for this past decade, I've kind of let my anger fuel me on a lot of things. Especially, like, creativity-wise. Yeah. I mean, guys like Henry Rollins, who I still deeply admire, have talked about that. Mm-hmm. Even, like, a latest interview from this past decade, he even talks about how, like, he's still angry, but he still he has better ways to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Mostly stuff that doesn't involve him like wrecking his body or anything. Yeah. Plus, he really can't do it because he's in his 50s and that now. Yeah. So the thing that I'm trying to work on is that I'm trying better ways to channel my anger than creativity in that, because it just doesn't seem to work now.
No, you don't want to color your artistic output with your own frustrations. At least that's sort of like an infantile way of like finding your like artistic muse. Like you don't want to do it out of anger, like not necessarily. Like that's kind of a youthful rebellion thing.
Well, it's not even like out of anger. Like I'm not being like I'll show you. But it's more like, oh, I'm super angry about this. I better go work on this poem or write this story. Oh, okay, yeah, like as a motivation. But as I'm discovering, I'm really not using it for that even. It's just sticking around. It's wrecking my mind and even my body.
That's usually what it does.
I know, so that's the thing I'm trying to do now, is figure out ways to either not hold grudges and not remain angry. Let shit slide more like it used to when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But because that's another thing. When I was younger, I went through a lot of shit. I got bullied and that. A lot of it still sticks with me, but at the same time, like, I don't remember, like, holding on to it as much as I do now. Mm. Like, it seems like now that I'm older, I'm in my mid-30s, it seems like anger just affects me more and I hold on to it even when I don't want to.
Sure. There's a lot to be angry about.
Yeah. Well, it's more personal shit. Like, I'm not getting, like, I get angry over, like, police abuse, the way our economy is ran and shit, but it's all this personal stuff, like, with John, that, like, gets to me more than even that. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you, Zach Elmblad, do you have any advice? Like, how do you have after all I told you, do you have any suggestions of better way to deal with anger, to get over it or reroute it or anything?
I mean, I suffer from a lot of that. Like, you sort of began that by talking about the frivolity of everything, and like imposter syndrome, and like feeling like you haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. And like, when I think about stuff like that, I always remember the story about like Julius Caesar, after he came back from his Gallic campaigns, like was crying at the foot of the statue of Alexander the Great, because Alexander the Great had conquered the entire known world before he was 30 years old, and Caesar was like 35 or something, and he's like, well, I'll never be as good as this, right? But it's like, we still remember him as like this like sort of contentious figure, but like one of the most famous Romans, right? And like the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire is kind of like a not only just a footnote in history, but in like just the timeline of humanity. And so to know that notable people throughout history have had those similar feelings, like that's definitely something that comes up in my artistic processes a lot, where it's like, why the fuck am I even doing this? Like, you know, Kurt Cobain wrote like 5 albums worth of great songs before he was 27. Like, I'm 37 now. Like, I'm just a fuckwit. Like, I'll never be good. Like, there's a lot of that. And I think a lot of times when you start letting anger rule your decision-making process, it either has to do with you seeing yourself in the other people, or you taking to heart people who are saying things to you out of context. Because, like, the way you represent yourself in the world and the way you actually are two different things. And I note that to be true in everyone. Where, like, a lot of times when people just like walk down and bitch at other people, it's because they fucking hate themselves. So, like, if you're walking through and you're getting real pissed off at somebody because they're being shitty to you or calling you lazy or whatever, like, a lot of times for me, it's easier to just be quiet and like see how they exhibit the traits that they're pointing out in you, because we're all like similar, you know. Like, there's a lot of situations where I'm just like a lazy asshole that doesn't respond to phone calls and shit, but like that's partly because everyone's like, do you, man, you got to take care of number one. And like, also it's like, well, you get busy and you don't answer people. But sometimes, like, when people do that to me, and like I send someone a message and they don't get back to me for a couple of days, I'm like, oh, I'm so low on your totem pole that you can't get back to me. And it's like, well, sometimes shit just comes up. You're busy or whatever. And I think that it has a lot of the same things where, like, we're only ever catching people at like 10% of their cognitive bandwidth, and like with a lot of other stressful shit going on in their lives. So like, I feel like when you start to notice yourself slipping into that, like, it's a lot easier to forgive other people for that shit, where it's like, maybe this guy was having a bad day, like maybe he just got a bill due, or like he went to the doctor and found out there's a lump on his nuts or something. Like, you never really know. Like, maybe the guy's cat died. Like,
that's actually what happened too. After I calmed down. Yeah. And I did finally get that alone in the walking by with John. Like I said, he didn't look at me. His head was down, and with his mush mouth and his dog-like face, he's all like, as he walked by. I actually did think about that, like, you know, what was he going through? Right. You know, what if he's angry about something else, blah, blah.
Yeah, just like that.
Then I thought of myself, like, I am way too empathetic and self-aware for my own health.
Right. Well, and maybe this comic guy that you ran into at Built to Spill, too, like, maybe he noticed that you were there and kind of felt shitty about making his shitty comments, you know?
I honestly
you never know.
I honestly don't think that, because, well, maybe also made me mad, too, because he was with his partner, and they were just shuckling it up while the other bands and that were playing, which kind of made me angry even more, because here's someone that talked shit to you and called you a zero, having a great time.
Whatever, man.
I know, it's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to let that shit go. Like, I hold a lot of animosity for people who treated me like shit or told me stuff that made me feel insulted or belittled.
I know.
It's easy to have.
I know. I don't think I'll ever totally get rid of that. But
no.
I'm trying to get to the point where, like, it won't be something that I'll just lament about for days on end, or like, actually physically hurt my body because I'm so angry about it.
Yeah.
And of course, just ruin shit like an album release.
Yeah.
A day that I should have been proud of myself and happy.
Right.
Which, by the way, the second day, someone purchased the album. And they paid more than $5. They spent $10 on it.
Hell yeah, a little tip. Just a tip.
Yeah, so I felt, thankfully that happened too after I felt better. I was like, maybe the day's looking up.
Yeah, man. I mean, in my freelance career, like, there's definitely days where I wake up and I haven't had work for a couple of days and the phone's not ringing and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm a complete failure. No one wants me to take photographs of them or their house. And, like, then it's like the next day, like, 6 people call up and they're like, hey, what are you doing Monday? And it's like people, are going to write the check right away. Like, you can't let one day ruin a whole week or a whole month. And, like, even though shit happens in waves or, like, as punctuated events, like, that change your world, like, you kind of, if you realize that people are bumping into you and have to take you as you come because, like, sometimes you have good days and sometimes you have bad days, then you kind of have to accept that in other people as well. Like, if you're searching for acceptance, living your life as you live it, then to a certain extent you have to also grant other people that leniency. And that's really difficult sometimes, too, because there's a lot of things that people do that piss me off. I'm like, why do you drive this way? Why do you talk this way? Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you throw trash out the fucking window? Like, but, it's easy to say that people come from a standpoint of ignorance, but a lot of times it's more like a defense mechanism that they don't realize is, like, detrimental to their contribution to the world. So it's like people get in these little subroutines of, like, well, if I act like a smart aleck, then people won't know that I feel unintelligent. Or, like, if I, like, fuck up other people's shit and heckle and stuff, like, maybe people will give me attention because I feel like I don't get enough attention from the people that care about me. Like, there's a lot of psychological aspects to that kind of stuff. And, like, as much as it's going to play on other people, it plays on you, too. So a lot of time, when I start feeling like that or getting anxious or having imposter syndrome or, like, being really fucking angry about people doing shit, like, for me it's like people chewing. Like, I'll just fucking freak out on people in public just because they chew loud. It drives me crazy. It's like I just want to get away from it. And, like, my blood pressure will get up and I'll get all fucking freaked out and start snapping at people and shit. And it's all just because I heard some guy chew. It's like, well, he's just trying to eat, dude. Like, what are you getting all fucking uptight for? It's like, well, it's a thing I don't like. I think it's sort of rude to chew loudly in public, and it's, like, uncouth, and it just bothers me. But also, like, I can see that, like, sometimes people just chew loudly, and they don't even fucking think about it. Like, why would they try to self-police a behavior that doesn't even occur to them to possibly be on the list of things that could be annoying another human in their public space? Like, so a lot of times you got to remember a lot of that shit's just in your head. And, like, maybe the people that you're angry with don't know that you're angry with them. They just know that you're being fucking weird or, like, obstinate or quiet or standoffish or something like that. Like, I feel like a lot of times communication is a lot, like, the broaching a subject is very difficult, but once people, like, know what your preferences and likes and dislikes are, like, getting to know each other as a community of people oftentimes helps with a lot of that stuff. Because if you just are like, hey, man, I'm really, like, why the fuck did you say that? Like, I've been all up in arms about that shit. But, like, then you have aspects of, like, those strangers on the internet that say shit to you and make assessments of your artistic career or whatever when we're all just here in this flyover state.
God,
like,
you know how many times I've been called a wannabe writer or a fail writer?
People say that shit to me all the time too, man. You know, whatever.
I know, just despite some of the stuff I've been sharing on here, I actually have stopped fighting a lot compared to what I used to.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've taken some pretty big slights. Like, even recently, people just told me, like, I'm not good at the drums and, like, I should quit playing and that I'm too old for it and that I can't move my body the way I used to and that, like, I was a better drummer in 2010. Like, I've heard all sorts of shit. Like, you know, a lot of people take umbrage with my writing, consider it abrasive,
Yeah. Even constructive criticism, I've
Yeah.
kind of tried to take. I've been trying to take it, but it still makes me angry.
Of course.
There's only one person I want constructive criticism from. Know who that is? You, Zach.
Yeah.
Because I've been working with you for years.
Yay.
But, God, dude, like, even this past week, I won't say the person's name, but for some reason they sent me an article saying, like, top 10 things self-published writers do that prevents them from getting publicity or good reviews. And it's all the same shit that I've been reading since, like, the mid-late 2000s. Like,
Yeah.
It's all the same shit, like, it's not well written, there's not good editing, the cover's bad, blah, blah, blah. Which I'm like, dude, why did you send this to me?
That
like,
and
random.
that
like,
and
are you trying to send me a message or something?
and who's to say what's good or bad, dude?
Oh,
Like,
there's that, too.
You look at graphic design from like the top 10 albums of any given genre, and you look at that and you're like, what the fuck is this? What am I looking at? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like you don't bash the graphic designers for doing something weird or like changing up their style. Like, that's sort of expected on graphic designers, is to do weird shit and choose different color palettes and experiment with different typographies. And
plus on this issue itself, I hate these kind of lists because they're so hack.
Yeah.
It's all the same
it's
shit.
all clickbait horse shit.
Yeah, it's all the same shit.
Attacking people to make them feel bad.
Yeah, plus it's all the same shit all the time. Like, I've read hundreds of articles with the same criticism.
Yeah.
And on top of this, I know it's for a fact that a lot of these people just will never get into, like, indie lit or self-published works.
Right.
So it's like, why are you writing this when you're honestly never gonna like this shit anyway?
For real, I mean, think about like 2600, or like that's the best example I know of like what was a self-published magazine that became a legitimate outfit. Like, as the years went by, like that started out with just like kids, writing up newsletters about hacking. Like, to try to denigrate someone for their artistic output is just such a low blow. Because, like, the work and dedication that it takes to just release a piece of media to begin with is just, like, so daunting. Like, the same type of person that's going to be like, oh, this is fuckwit amateurish and, like, and poorly written. They've never written a thing in their fucking life. Or, like, you could go read through their stuff and find all sorts of errors and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, good for you. You got this great graphic design on your cover because you paid some guy $2,500 to fucking do it for you. Like, at what point does farming out the processes to people who are using it as a way to financially gain from you, like at what point does that become other people doing your work for you? Like, I've struggled a lot with that too. Like, creative teams, you end up sort of like diluting the original thought that way. Like, keeping as much control in the artist's hands, I think, is really beneficial for experimentation.
Oh yeah, that's why I like working with you, and why I say you're the only person I really take constructive criticism from, because you have your thoughts, but you kind of like know my process and my goals and that, what I'm kind of looking to do.
Yeah, and I think that anytime you're working with another artist, on work that's not necessarily collaborative but supportive, then like you want to let the original work shine through. Like, when I'm recording a band, I don't do a bunch of studio tricks to make them sound like I want them to sound. I make them sound like they sound.
Yeah, or even my work. Like today, folks, Zach actually worked on another track for the next album I want to work on. And I'm sure you have other thoughts of it, but you know what I'm kind of looking for because I've talked to you about it.
Yeah.
And I guess you kind of stay in that lane.
Yeah, and you have a recording philosophy and influences that you want to
you're not like,
acknowledge.
This instrumental's trash. You should do this one instead.
No, nothing's trash, man. I mean, like,
Though I have told you before that I want you to be completely honest to the point where you're like, Gary, this is fucking awful. Do not put this out.
Well, if it was trash, I'd say it. You know,
I know.
I'd just have you redo it again. But like,
I know. So I want you to at least be that honest. If something is so bad that even you're like, Okay, there's nothing subjective about this. This is bad.
This is a big turd.
Do not put it on your SoundCloud.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I think there's an audience for anybody's artistic output, you know? And, like, tastes change and influences change and audiences change and develop and grow in and grow out of your art. And, like, you'll have diehard fans that follow everything you do, but there's always, like, you talk about long-running bands, and there's always, like, flop albums that, like, you talk to one guy and you're like, oh, fucking, I hate every Metallica album that came out after Cliff Burton died. And then
or
some
after the
people,
Black Album.
Yeah, or even some people are like, oh, man, Black Album's the best album of rock and roll history. Like, everybody has their own takes and opinions.
Say Anger's not that bad if you think about it.
Yeah, dude, I mean, my old roommate, Tarek, he fucking loved that record.
Oh, God.
He loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, you never know who your audience is going to be, especially when you're first starting out. I think we've had a lot of conversations about that before, is that, like, you first start branching out with people who are similar to you think. And then what you'll notice as you develop an artistic career is that the people who really like you aren't the people that you thought were really going to like you, and the people that you thought were really going to like you are probably going to be combative with you, because either they consider you competition for them and what they're doing, or they just don't expect creativity out of you because they just, like, know you as the pudgy guy from high school or whatever. And then next thing you know, you're flying out to Colorado to, you know, hike mountains and shit, and they're stuck with their 2 crying babies. And, like, it's just easy to comment on someone's Facebook wall and be like, oh yeah, some of us have to work. And it's like, dude, go fuck yourself. Like, if you could be on vacation, you would. Like, don't drag me down because you can't do what I'm doing. Like, there's times in my life where I've looked at your Facebook feed and been like, wouldn't it be nice to just have a little camping trip with my 2 kids, you know, cook some hot dogs and live the simple life. So, like, you're always looking across the fence at someone else's garden and you're like, well, shit, I should have grown cucumbers this year. But, like, the reality is, what you should do is cooperate with these people and be like, hey, man, I got these bell peppers and you got these cucumbers. Like, let's make a little salad here and, like, have a picnic. Like, and to, like, drag that analogy into the, like, artistic realms or, like, the literary realms. Like, I see a lot of more, like, cross-pollination with those indie artists that you really like, the like, absurdist writers and stuff, where they're, like, doing collaborative work and like hyping each other up on Instagram and like sharing each other's stuff and buying each other's stuff and reading each other's stuff. Like, that's much more of a vibrant literary community to me, even though it's compartmentalized into this weird genre that from the outside it's like, oh man, this, like, what was, every time I go to the supermarket my head explodes or some shit like that.
Carlton Melick, great Bizarro writer.
Yeah.
Every time we meet at Dairy Queen, my fucking head explodes.
Yeah, like, what kind of non sequitur Mitch Hedberg shit is that? But also, like, you know, there is an outlet and an avenue and similarly minded people because of the diversity of thought that we have in Western civilization. Like, there's a lot of opinions to have and a lot of ways to present, like, situations for your characters and a lot of perspectives to explore with writing. And so, you know, just like someone doesn't like mayonnaise on their French fries, they might not like your writing style. But for them to vocalize, like, oh, fuck this is trash, like, you're a shitty writer, it's usually not motivated by their actual honest assessment of your work. It's most of the time just because they're jealous because they always wanted to write, and, like, even though you might be writing something that they dislike or doesn't mesh with them, rather than just choosing to not read it, then they have to go the extra mile to, like, issue some type of negative criticism on it. It's like, dude, you're not exploring this work in its context. You don't know the peers of this work. Like, you don't go into an art gallery at 18 years old and just start talking about, you know, the neoclassicists. You kind of have to learn about that and, like, what changes that from classicism, or like different types of painting styles. Like, I dislike abstract expressionism. I dislike impressionism. I'm more of classical art style. Like I like Botticelli and Raphael and that
Van
kind
Gogh.
of stuff. Yeah. I'm not that big of a Van Gogh fan. That's
Oh, right.
abstract expressionism. It's like implied color and like visual distortion and playing with like reverie daydreamscapes and not necessarily like recreating the world around you. Like
Or conceptual art, is that what it's called?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Like the guy who like tapes a banana to a wall.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've had many elaborate discussions about that type of shit. Or like piss Christ. That's another
that's
very
a classic.
right. But I mean, that just boils down to the question of like what is art, and if it's the unique expression of personal ideas, then like who is anyone to really criticize or judge? Because like someone could smear a pile of shit on a wall and call it art. Yeah. And as long as there's like a viewing public that appreciates the way that you smeared the shit or like the color of the shit, like then it becomes art because of what it is, not because of its intent. It becomes art because its ability to have an opinion on it, like a visual aesthetic opinion. So like that's just going to vary from person to person no matter what you do. So on the continuum, for every person who decides to make a snarky comment, there's probably a person who really enjoyed the work that just sat, read it, moved on, and didn't feel moved to make a comment in a public forum to just say, hey, I really enjoyed this. They just did, and you'll never even know, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to remember that too when
right.
someone's talking shit.
All right, I just checked the time. It's 3:35.
Okay,
Should
yeah,
probably
sure.
start wrapping up.
Closer on up.
Yeah, I will say so far what I've been doing to deal with my anger is 4 things right now. Seeking out advice of how to deal with it, or just monologues that calm me the fuck down.
Yeah.
There's that. 2, I have finally admitted that I will not be putting out a book this year.
All right.
Because technically I have a rough draft for the next Golden book, but dude, I still want to deal with the process of putting it out from everything.
So let it go.
Yeah, so I'm like, God, you know what? I knew this was going to happen. The year is this year. The year since I first put out my Animaki in 2016, I will not put out a book.
You don't have to, man.
Yeah. So,
no one's lighting the fire under your ass to make it done.
I know. So I've come to peace with that.
You could even change your mind if you want.
Yep. 2, actually put out more work like short stories and poems and that. Because I haven't done that in a long ass time because I've been focusing on writing novels.
Totally. Same.
Yep. And finally the other thing is just like being very conscious of like when shit happens. Mostly if it's small stuff, like the whole, like what I just mentioned, you know, friends just sending me an article which I thought was insulting to me in some way. Like, no guarantees on, like, big shit, like if some guy at work calls me the F word or something. But, like, little stuff, like, don't try and, like get to me as much.
Yeah, man, road rage, that's the way to practice. Some asshole cuts you off, all that shit. Just let her go, man.
All right, well, I say it's been a podcast, man.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Podcast successful.
Yeah. Zach, thanks for coming back on.
Of course.
And like I said, we gotta have you on more often or else the world will fucking end. Zach, let's do some promo stuff, man.
Yeah, I don't really have much to promo other than like I'm doing photography and stuff.
So on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm not very active. I'm working on my business and dealing with the clients that I already have, and I haven't been like really moved to do any big elaborate projects, but I'm working on a motorcycle that might turn into a YouTube video at some point.
Nice.
I'm still working on restoring that big piano from the 19th century. I got like 3 or 4 videos up now on the Elmblad Media Group YouTube. So yeah.
Well, as for me, everyone, you know where to find my stuff at. And it's not on Podbean, like I said.
Podbean.
But the gods have... Jeffrey Epstein has helped me out in getting it on there, so it's all good. And also, my first album as Neo Be Glory, I Hate Living in the Future, is now available on Bandcamp.
Get it.
10 tracks, all for $5. Lo-fi, punk rock, and industrial. If you're into that, check it out. And it's also, you can listen to it on SoundCloud, YouTube soon, probably this week. And also, it's now available through Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah.
And other shit, probably like Deezer and Pandora and whatever other stuff I clicked on.
Last.fm.
Oh, I actually tried getting on there.
iHeartRadio.
I tried getting on there, but they changed their policy so that artists can't like submit to themselves.
Weird.
I know, it's fucking stupid. This happened a couple of years ago. They haven't changed it. So, yeah, everyone, thanks for listening again. Zach, thanks for being on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the advice.
Of course.
And thank you, folks, for listening. Here is the outro song.
Goodbye.
Sadistic kissing got him down, for he knows someday the sails will fill out, and you'll be an empty hope, an endless ghost. It's written in those books you made, and tied up in those words you trade. Pirates poison and mermaids jade to hold back home. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Tip-top sugar, don't you think? It's so chilly in the drink and he's not cold. But perhaps your judgment's not the best. The ice chest, the bottle jests and walk you home. Tip-top sugar, don't you think? It's so chilly in the drink and he's not cold. But perhaps your judgment's not the best. The ice chest, the bottle jests and walk you home.